Welcome everybody to our live stream here on lichess on Twitch. Spectacular Camel, Mr. Coffee, Acerbate. Great to see some of our regular friends here. We had a gift sub? Acerbate with the quotes in the house. You wanted to pay it back to the community, but my transaction got declined from last week. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I appreciate gift subs for the viewers in any form or denomination. Good evening, Bijak. We've got Uber driver, Yabadis, Tezek, Sumaher, your game got in there, and Acerbate. I feel like somebody's missing. Who is missing? Mr. Slowhand usually submits a game and he's not in there today, which I thought was weird. Spectacular Camel, 100. Thank you. 100-bit donation with the lucky. I'll consider it an early Father's Day present. Isn't Father's Day coming up? When is Father's Day? Wonder if we have Father's Day the same day here in Hungary. Mother's Day in the United States and Father's Day are different. Mother's Day in the United States and Hungary are different. But are Father's Day the same? We got the game, Bijak Sumaher, whatever your name is. Your game is in there. I'll just call you Sumaher. This year. Alright, Spectacular Camel donated 100 bits. Much appreciated. This week we've got a gift sub from Cooking Rooks. WJ Loop with 1,000 bits. Cooking Rooks with 500. Lionel Spoon and also now Spectacular Camel with 100 bits. Appreciate it, guys. Who's the Acerbate? Uh-oh. Acerbate, your hype train conductor badge is gone. What's up with that? Acerbate, you're no longer a hype train conductor. Does that mean that Move 11 is also no longer a hype train conductor? Are you guys not hype train conductors if there's no hype train for like a week or something? How does that work? Anyway, guys, Thursday's a long day for me. I work a lot, but it's nice to relax and analyze with everybody here for our subscribers. No pressure, just enjoyable game analysis. Uber drivers first. Maybe we should delay that. I don't know if he's actually going to be here on the stream, though. Don't know when he's Uber driving. Maybe I'll do Yabadis' game first and go back to Uber driver, like hoping that, kind of hoping the Uber driver will be here for it. Probably he's USA Eastern time, and if he's working, he probably won't be here anyway. But let's wait for the Uber driver game for the second one for today and do Yabadis first, because as we know, he's here. We're opening up with Yabadis versus Ravi Manoyan. Yabadis 2173 rapid, Ravi is 2105. Taking a look at Knight C3. I'm going to turn off my engine here while leaving on the opening explorer. Just a second. Spectacular Camel will hold. We're going to hold while he gets ready to view his game with us. Speaking of viewers, we have 7 viewers. You don't mind starting your game, do you? If you insist. Spectacular Camel, a surprise. 400. So he donated 500 bits today. That is an awesome surprise. Told me there would be surprise. 500 bit surprise. Spectacular Camel, thank you. So this is for your game. Paid for in blood and bits. You got them yesterday. Knight C3, D5, best move. E4, best move theoretically. By the way, I was just thinking, what about your D3? How do you decide to play like D3 or E4? I know you like playing D3. Alright, E4. This is variation B. This is the mainline Dunst. D4. There's some schools of thought that think this exchange is better, but I doubt it. I always like the more open positions, so I played this as well. Against the D5, E4 is obligatory. I'm not so sure. The computer would agree with you. So, I'm not sure. I think D4 gaining space is a computer choice, but it's more about like what kind of position you feel more comfortable with. If you're the kind of player who likes open games with more immediate tactics, then you probably should play pawn takes E4. If you like space advantage with closed games, then D4 fits your style. So black plays D4, knight E2. Dunst opening or Van Geet. Yeah, I always tell people, back in the day, I had this game in the U.S. Amateur Team Championship. I was like 2400 playing way down against like a 1900, and the guy played knight B1 and I couldn't beat him. That left kind of a bad taste in my mouth. It was like a 400 rating point draw upset. But honestly, like, knight B1 is probably not that bad. At least the knight doesn't get in the way of the other pieces. It's not that bad. Anyway, knight E2. Yeah, and so the main line for black is E5. And Yabatis has been experimenting with like weird move here, F4, haven't you? Among other things, you've been experimenting with F4. Cooking Rooks, welcome. Cooking Rooks joining us from work. We've got Mr. Coffee and Cooking Rooks. Multiple players joining from... Move 11 is here as well. All you guys who should be working. Move 11, Cooking Rooks, Mr. Coffee. Move 11 just gifted a tier 1 sub to Bogachog. Bogachog. I never heard of Bogachog 3. We've got secret viewers. Cooking Rooks said, I'm not taking vacation next week. Wait a minute. Did you tell me you're taking vacation next week? I must have missed that. Now, are you taking vacation to watch the stream? I've got a challenge here, rated. No, I can't play challenges today. We're just analyzing chess. Taking a vacation from my problems. I'm taking my problems with me. This is number 1. Watch the stream and play chess. Nice vacation. Princess Chess 6-4 with a chestnut. She likes chestnuts. It's not the right season for chestnuts. Welcome, Princess Chess. World Loser. Tezek. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I mean, I could say it in an American way, like Tezek, or I can say it in a Hungarian way, with a long E, like Tezek. Your name could easily be Hungarian. It's kind of like a... I don't know. You know, maybe... Why it always seems like there's some kind of... something about Turkish words that they resemble Hungarian somehow more. Sometimes I see similarities between Turkish and Hungarian. Is that weird? I don't know. Maybe because the Ottoman Empire invaded Hungary like hundreds of years ago. Yeah, Emir. There's some people in there's a grandmaster named Emir who's not Turkish. Like Bosnian grandmaster. Shelly Mays. Hey, good to see you. We played once. I remember. That's funny. I might have just referenced a game from the same tournament where I played you. I had a game. I remember, man. I remember we played in the U.S. Amateur Team Championship. What? I don't remember all my games, oddly. But that one I remembered. Did somebody just move the board on me, or was that me? Mr. Coffee just got added. Alright. Shelly Mays played against me in the Amateur Team Championship. I think I was playing board 2 with my friend David Vigorito on board 1. And it was probably late 90s, 2000 or something. I don't remember. I'm going to guess. Maybe even earlier. Late 90s. I had another game, though, oddly. The same tournament, I believe, as I played you, where my opponent played this. D4 Knight B1. Yeah, I'm going to guess like 1999. I don't know. I think that was the year I played with David. We didn't have a great result or have a good chance. We did all right. I would have been on board 2. But oddly, I've forgotten a lot of my games. I used to remember them all. But thanks for joining. You're a fairly strong player, if I recall. You were like 2100. Anyway, here's Yobatis' game. Knight on CD2, C5, D3. This is unusual. Most people don't like blocking in their bishop, so they try to get it out with Knight G3. I had this like against Erdos Victor in a rapid game with colors reversed, but that's a lot worse. Like, tempo goes a long way here. Victor played like the reverse of this with H5. You know, even this is probably a move here. I guess it's going too far. Anyway, Yobatis doesn't like Knight G3 for some reason. So he plays his own system, D3. This is fine, though. I mean, the C5 move's not considered as accurate as E5. I guess that's the difference, right? If Black had played E5, and then you play Knight G3, then we're talking like H5 might be playable. It's a pawn sack to open the rook file. It's really a typical motif, but probably a little over the top, like G6s. This is the main move there. You found the game. Alright, chessgames.com. You're an internet security investigator. U.S. Amateur Team East Parsippany 2001. I called it 1999, but I think I said, yeah. So I would have played board 2 in a 4-board team. That's good research there, Cooking Rooks. Nice job. It's a wonder if they could read my score sheet to put it into a database. I have like notoriously bad handwriting. It's almost impossible. Not as bad as like Gingy Ashvili, but Roman would just like write scribbles on the paper that you couldn't decipher at all. But it must have been his score sheet. Alright, let's go. C5. D3. Yeah, 2001. That was the last time. Actually, I saw Roman there. So 2001 was the last time I saw Roman. All these things tie together. At that tournament. We haven't spoken since. We briefly spoke there. But that's the last time I played in the U.S. Amateur Team Championship. Sadly, probably 2001. People try to get me to play every year. I'd love to go back. It's a fun event. Alright, anyway, here's the game. E5. Black's playing like a monitor defense reversed with the white pieces. Knight F6 is reasonable. Bishop G2. As I pointed out last week, we had a similar game. Todor Todorov, Bulgarian grandmaster, who was on my stream some time back, is real fond of, like, you know, positional players can be real fond of this, like, strategic idea of trading off the bad bishop, like bishop a6 in the French, but it's not, you know, the most aggressive setup. So Summon Unsound, I mean, I'm sorry, Ubatis is just interested in playing a kind of modern King's Indian, you know, where he's getting f4 in front of his knight. h6. This move seems like really, really early, unnecessarily so. He's going to try to circumvent you by playing some sort of h3 g5 or h6 g5 King's Indian. I mean, you guys with your h-pawn moves, Ubatis is keeping the knight off of g4 with this move. h6 doesn't have as clear a concept behind it, you know, and black is a little slow, but I mean, maybe g5 is worth a shot, especially with the bishop on g2. If you're going to go to the trouble of playing h6, I would think you would play g5, call it, and if f4 you take and you try to get some action on the g file, and play like a classic kind of King's Indian, modern Makhaghanov King's Indian style position. But, you know, what's the point in playing h6 otherwise if you don't want to play g5? We'll see. So bishop e6, f4. I don't know. You know, is it to keep your knight off of g5? Now he plays bishop d7. I'm sorry? What? That was, what was that, a mouse slip? I think he just made a mouse slip. Bishop e6, you normally would induce f5 before you would retreat your bishop back. So this is a very strange decision by black. Obviously, it doesn't make any sense. He just, like, moves the bishop again. So you take, and now his knight has no good square. I don't have a problem with that. He has to go to h7 or g8. And now knight f3. And I guess this pawn looks kind of lonely, you know. You just analyzed my game. I played one inaccuracy, 1 mistake, 0 blunders. Solid game. Like in 2001, I was approaching my peak strength, but I mean, well, according to ratings anyway, I don't think I really had as much knowledge back then. But my high confidence and yeah, I wasn't at my peak yet, but I don't know, you know, maybe I don't think I was really stronger than now, honestly. Players are just getting weaker. Or they're getting stronger or something. I'm not getting weaker. I didn't say anything the whole game. Then a day later, we happened to be on the elevator together. Just as I was about to step off the elevator, he suddenly spoke how unfavorably my opening was at the time. Years later, I understood his point. That's funny. I don't remember speaking to you on the elevator. That's too random of an event. But I hope I was at least polite. I try to be. Sometimes I might come off as weird. I'm an eccentric chess player. Knight f3, bishop c6. What about this? I want to undermine the center with b4 or c3. But I don't think Ubatis likes that. He's kind of a one-dimensional dude. He likes king-side attacks. So this is a wonderful idea. e6 opening the position with knight e5 and knight g6 and knight f4, and black is just toast here. Black is lost already. you know, obviously you can't. How many pawn moves did he make? 800 Grandmasters, 1600 IMs from the old days, and only 50 of them stream from the old days. Midnight Rhino, it seems like everybody's streaming. So, FTC6, again, then most of the streamers aren't IMs and GMs, but everybody's getting in the act. I've been doing this for 5 years. Knight e5, knight e7, knight f4. I mean, black is lost, man, but it's still, you gotta finish him off. Queen h5 check. Slight threat. Oh man, so he's losing everything. He's only got to play g6. Knight takes. Which knight do we take with? Did you take with the wrong knight here? Because we want to keep that fork on f7. The mid-level masters and experts are, well, I mean, you know, I think a lot of people, like top grandmasters who are 2800, they should be doing more than streaming, but not everybody can be like Hikaru Nakamura. Hikaru is making a lot of money by streaming, but not like every chess player who's 2800 or 2700 can do that. You have to have. He's been doing it for a long time. He's practiced. You can't just be like a random grandmaster and necessarily be a successful streamer. Not that I would know. I just do this for the love. I never intended to do it as a business, really. I do it out of love. Yeah, I mean, chess players are not known for their personality. This is the first problem. They wouldn't be chess players if they had great personalities. They'd be doing something else. Already my antisocial behavior was mentioned. So g6, knight e takes g6. I think you take this one. But I mean, he still take. King e7. I mean, obviously white is winning like 10 ways in this position. Isn't it bad for youngers like Ali Reza to stream now? Look, Ali Reza is streaming because he's young. He likes bullet chess. He probably is you know, amazed by what kind of money like Hikaru is making. He's impressionable. But I've already made the argument before that if I was Hikaru, I would kill to be like the second best player in the world. I wouldn't have done chess streaming. Hikaru basically sacrificed his chances to be a top 10 player to be rich and be a chess streamer. I would rather be a strong player than be rich, you know. It's a matter of what you want in life. Some people would rather be, you know, would you rather be a top 5 player or be extremely wealthy? You know, why would I have been a chess player if I wanted to be rich in the first place? That's the thing that's kind of messed up about it. I've always been kind of miffed with Hikaru for sacrificing his chess career to become a streamer. Personally, I don't care that much, but I think that he wasted it a little bit. Maybe that's my own regrets. I'm projecting on Hikaru in my own little way. I sort of didn't take advantage of my opportunities. I think I'm using my own. Yeah, I'm angry with myself for not becoming a grandmaster, getting distracted by other things, probably, and projecting that onto him. But yeah, I think people like Ali Reza shouldn't become chess streamers. It's probably not a good idea. But he's specifically like a specialist in bullet chess, so it kind of fits his mold. He's not like the run-of-the-mill 2700. He's specialized in ultra-fast play. So now he's almost like locked into that sort of direction. Anyway, let's focus on the games. So this is winning either way. I'm just sort of thinking, how can white screw this up? We're only up a couple pawns. And the black king is still relatively safe. We're up one pawn after all that. You know, this is hardly over. So I mean, the last thing you want to do is trade queens. You're only one pawn up. It seems like Yabatis missed something. Well, I mean, LVN 2K, I personally don't care about blitz chess or bullet chess. You know, I'm a purist. So for me, it's meaningless if you're like #1 in the world in blitz. That doesn't mean anything to me. FIDE can have all the ratings they want, but the only one that matters, if you talk to average titled players, is the real rating. They don't. Normal grandmasters don't care like what their FIDE rapid rating is, or their FIDE blitz rating. I've never even played in a FIDE blitz tournament in my life. So queen d6, bishop d6, knight g6, rook h7, h4. Yeah, I feel like you had a lot more somehow, Yabatis, and black is on the verge of hanging on here. Though it may be too much. Maybe knight b4 anyway. I don't agree about the blitz being an achievement, man. Nobody plays in FIDE rated blitz tournaments. The rating has no meaning. You know? It's like, it just doesn't have any meaning. How many FIDE blitz tournaments are held every year? Like 5 or something? You're talking about an irrelevant rating. We don't even have any tournaments in the country I live in that are like, maybe one tournament a year is like FIDE blitz rated. So how accurate or relevant can the ranking system be? It's meaningless. c4, check, b6, bishop d2, or g8. I have a lot of political problems with FIDE and most sporting organizations, but you know, you got to have more tournaments for it to mean something that are accessible to everyone. Not a handful of tournaments that only like an elite few participate in. So Yabatis now only one pawn up in an endgame, kind of grinding the guy down. There's a tactic here with knight takes c4, no? Yeah, mid-right rhino, but I mean, I'm talking about like the rating system that FIDE has created. You know, there was no blitz and rapid ratings until like the last 10 years or something. That's a completely new concept. 10 or 15, I don't know. It's relatively new. Paying for titles. Paying to have tournaments rated. They made up new titles like Candidate Master just to make money. It's a joke. Like, I would think that blitz ratings would have a meaning if there was like hundreds and thousands of tournaments around the world that everyone would play in all the time. But for me, you know, there's probably less than 100 important tournaments that are FIDE rated because you have to pay to have them rated. No chess federation has the money, you know, maybe like Qatar or something. But I mean, the average chess federation can't support like paying for FIDE blitz tournaments or something. The fees for that, even for the regular tournaments. So knight e4 doesn't work. What am I missing? There's a tactic at the end. Yeah, knight f8. Very positional game by Yabatis. No counterplay. Two up. But this is going. I don't know. I mean, it seems like you should have had this in the bag, and black is still hanging on. But I don't really know what you did wrong. Probably a lot of like tiny inaccuracies for Yabatis. Black is still in the game with king g4. But now he's in the zone. Oof. I feel a mating net coming on. This A2? Is that a problem? Snap. I think this is a draw. I don't think we're winning. Pretty amazing achievement by Black to hold this together, honestly. You still have a very strong knight, but if you lose the base of your pawn chain, snap it, and then behind, very good technique. It's possible Black could even be better with the two connected passed pawns here. He did an amazing job, like, defending this. So now it becomes a little tricky. C3. Whoa. So one thing he could play is C3. C3 looks pretty reasonable. Bishop C5 is pretty strong too. So suddenly white is like maybe lost, right? You're just lost after D2. You're gone. I mean, D2, you're just toast. Okay, it was a blitz game, or a rapid, fast rapid. Yeah, but this isn't as good. I mean, D2 right away, he's threatening this. Oh, okay, it's not so clear. Rook C5, rook to E3. Maybe it's not over. Rook here. Oh my god. And then this. Wow. A7. Queen. Queen. Oh my god. I don't know. That's a messed up position. Is rook A2 the right move? So I'm not even right here. Yeah, D2 was the best move. D2. Amazing position. Yeah, rook takes C5, rook takes E3, rook D5. It takes it like a minute to find the line that I suggested. So that's all forced. Wow. But he misses it and plays rook A2 check, which isn't as good. Check. We still can't advance either pawn. Yeah, sadly it's only a draw. Alright, I mean, I'm just taking the pawn, man. There's no question here. I'm taking the pawn and I'm claiming a draw at this point. Black is very lucky to get a draw here. Instead he plays king E5, which is really wild. So you could just play king E3. I mean, after king E3, it's a draw. It's still a draw. But he's like a psychopath. He's trying to win now. You gave him a chance to play for a win. I mean, king E3 is no chance. No chance, buddy. But after this, there's a possibility that Black is actually playing for a win. Or maybe a loss. Let's see. Rook D5 check, king C3. Now your pawn is free. Now you have two passers to his one. And maybe we'll see the end. A7. Yeah, I can't say I understand what A7 does. Honestly. Thanks everybody for joining me. A7, king C2. Wow, I mean, again, it's like he does not respect that pawn or what? It's crazy. And all that, like, he had an easy technical draw with like 1 pawn against 2, and now he's found a way to be worse. It's still a draw. Maybe. But actually, you know, his king is in such a bad position. I shouldn't say that necessarily, but I don't see how you save this pawn. Yeah, he's got an outside H pawn. He grabs the pawn on G3. It's still a draw. Oh, you had a check. Sorry, my bad. I didn't see this. You have rook D2 check. Alright, king C3. Now I'm not sure. I don't know. Alright, we got chances to win. It's a win according to the table base. Holy crap. He put his king in a bad position. Now he should go back. Right. Yeah, H5 is not a good move. And it's not rook and bishop pawn, because if it's rook and bishop pawn, that's a draw if his king is somewhere close. I imagine this isn't the easiest 2 pawns to win with. But it's pretty much no chance for black to survive. Did you find a way to get a drawn position or something? Still winning. Here it's like king here. King F8 is easy. Now you saw it. Game over. Alright, man, long game. We never had an endgame like that from Yabades. Morales with a game. Morales with a game. LVN submitted a game. Let's see. Morales. Let's add your game in. That was a long endgame from him. I wasn't prepared for that. Guys, welcome to the stream. I skipped over the Uber driver game. We're going to do that next. And see how many games we've got here. I do up to 10 games every week. That looks like a brutal game. Yeah, Yabades, that was interesting. I mean, he was dead to rights. You should have had him massacred with like a +7 advantage in the opening there. And you let him get away and almost hang on in a drawn endgame. Not great, but a very typical situation, honestly. I had another student today I was working with who had a number of games like that. A lot of us tend to let up when we have winning positions. It's a very classic psychological mistake, and I'm as guilty as anybody. Nils, welcome. Alright guys, we've got 10 games in the list. LVN, Morales. Oh no, LVN's in twice now. Alright. Delete. I should probably read the list first. Cooking Rooks, Mr. Coffee. Alright guys. At least you managed to win the endgame. No, your opponent managed to lose it. Alright. Uber Driver's next. I don't know when he's going to be in the house, so maybe never. I think Uber Driver watches the stream when he gets home from Uber driving. Uber Driver is white. No, Uber Driver is black here. We've got E4, G6. I didn't know that Uber played a modern. Antonio says, oh, you're talking about your game. Welcome everybody to the stream. Good to see Nils. Antonio. Very hot here. If I pass out in the middle, I'm not used to the 80, 90 degree Fahrenheit temperature. Suddenly summer. I try to tell people to play. Oops, I almost lost my glass. I try to tell people to play d4. Why play knight f3 if black isn't going to give you the center? If black is going to give you the center, occupy with both pawns. I see a lot of people who play, stuff like d6, knight f3, or, unless you have a specific reason, like you want to play the two knights variation against the Caro Kann. Really, what's the sense in not occupying the center with an air conditioner fun drive? Alright, that's not a bad idea. But does anybody know the tactical aspect of air conditioners with a what do you call it? What's the word? I don't have a conventional window in my office. I have a skylight is the word I'm looking for. Now, how do you set up an air conditioner with a skylight? You have to get one of those non-window based air conditioners. Air conditioner fund. Yeah, okay. So how does it work if you have a non-window based air conditioner? They can put in a unit. I guess it would be a little bit expensive. We'll have to talk. See how much funding we can get. But I can't get like a simple window air conditioner. You need the water to go out, right? But I mean, I guess the modern ones, it still has to have a unit on the outside of the building. We have them downstairs. I'll check it out. e4, g6. I'll check out my options. Knight f3, bishop g7. So d4, c5. Uber driver playing the modern. Gingy used to use this move order a lot. The problem is, for me, is d5. This is really objectively a good move. And another problem is takes. So you have two major issues here. You have to play the black side of the Schmid-Benoni. Call it what you want, but it's not great for black. And secondly, the takes, which is... There's also problems here. Check. Maybe check isn't so bad. Maybe this line isn't so bad. I guess this we can deal with. Yeah, the bigger problem is this, actually. Knight c3, bishop g7. This is worse. There you have a more serious issue. With knight c3, bishop g7, d4, c5, takes. And I've tried to play bishop takes c3, but it's not great. This variation is rather dubious for black. WJ Lou, 500 pride bits. Yeah, who came up with all the dinosaur names? Dude, I have very big skepticism toward the... lichess and any online chess site opening whatever. They should get some encyclopedia from the library and have a better chance of getting the opening names right. They just make stuff up. Like the old Benoni. Like, I don't think that's a real thing. Alright, knight f3. Bishop g7, d4, c5. Okay, so this is not so dangerous here. The best move is d5. But this is alright. He plays c3 and transposes to Sicilian. cd5, cd5. Now, oddly, I was talking about this position earlier, and Stockfish wants to play... What do you think Stockfish wants to play here? Pretty much everyone plays d5, but it looks like the engine prefers knight f6. I almost tried this the other day, but then I was like, no, I don't like it. It's too creepy. There's these e5 lines with this. Apparently this is even a move, which looks very dubious. And there's weird c3 Sicilian lines with d5. The same person who designed the lichess logo for April 1st. You have heard of Old Benoni in the older parts of your library? Very weird. I missed that chapter. I've heard of Old Indian. But maybe it exists. What would Walter Korn say? Alright, cd4, d5. Again, knight f6 is interesting, but I think here knight c3, for example. Would this be playable? d5, e5, knight e4. It looks like we're going to some kind of modern defense now. It's also, it could be, it actually looks like a Gutmann variation of the King's Indian, where you play like d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, bishop g7, e4, d6, no, sorry, e4, c6, knight f3, d5, we'd have like cd5, cd5, e5, right in transpose. That would be another sort of dubious variation that black can play. Alright, let's see what Uber Driver does. Take, d5, very standard, e5. So, yeah, the other day I played a similar position with a6. Bishop g4 is the main move. I've tried everything. I've played every move here. I played bishop g4, knight c6, knight h6, a6. Nothing is going to equalize. The other day against Hey It's Miro, I had like bishop b5 check, but knight d7. And that was... We couldn't find a way... Move 11 isn't here now, but we were analyzing with him earlier this week on Monday. This position. We couldn't find a way for black to equalize. It's just not that easy. I don't know. So knight h6. I once played this position with white against Jakob Attila. And this move is just like, what is white doing? Something about diagonals. That's what Uber Driver said. Yeah, this is inane. Bishop takes h6, man. It's like people... I do e4, d5, or e4, knight h6, d4, d5. And you get the people who like take here. It's awful for white to take there. And then they do like this, and you play like c5 and queen b6 and hit this pawn on b2. Like the best French / Caro-Kann of all time. Or the best advanced French for black in history. Bishop takes h6 is so bad. Imagine like having a long-range bishop here. You're going to hack that knight on h6? For what? Yeah, at least there it damages the structure. Here, you're just like giving up a long-range bishop for a knight that's on the side of the board for no reason. Awful. The only good thing that you can say about it is that, okay, technically it's like his bad bishop that he traded. It's better than giving up the white square bishop for the knight on a6, maybe. Now he's given up both bishops for minimum pawn damage. Check it out. Check it out! It's kind of funny. Bishop handcuffs. Oh, man. Now, admittedly, like the two bishops might have more trouble against the two knights. I would say if white was like castled and he could move his rook to e1, this kind of position can be good. If you get the king to a safe position, play like knight a4, knight c5, maybe white's clearly better. Yeah, I think like Cheesy Noob was playing white. Sorry, Cheesy Noob, but I know how much you like trading bishops for knights. Some people have that like fascination, but this is a big problem. I mean, the king's safety is the big problem. King trapped in center. So there is no way out of this. He tries to chase the bishop down with queen a4. So I don't know. I mean, it looks like queen b6 is the normal move. But maybe Uber Driver saw more deeply. Well, let's say black plays queen b6. White plays b3. What do we do? What's next? I want to play f6 and crack it open. And then like totally annihilate white. Right? But this piece comes to c8 and he guards that way. My preference is to go here with like standard pressure on those weak points. Black's position is a sharpie. Ginsu. Do you remember the old TV commercials in the 80s for Ginsu knives? Telemarketing. You never have to sharpen them. Guaranteed for life. The sharpest knives. I don't think like Ginsu is even a real thing. Like they made everybody think that was like a Japanese concept. But I think it was just like a made up name that just sounded Japanese or something. It actually doesn't have even like a meaning. Queen c8. Now white must act fast. You know, seriously, I mean, the only way to get your king out of the center here for white would be to physically block with knight e2. So you could play like knight e2, queen a5 check. You're screwed again. Like, no matter what you do, there's a problem. You're in the diagonal. But I mean, maybe he could walk away with like king g1. I just don't see how white can get out of this. So queen c8, rook d1, but this move doesn't really do anything. Like, what's rook d1? I mean, okay, we don't have c5 necessarily. But we definitely have f6. And Uber Driver goes for rook b8 first, b3, and then f6. But that looks decisive to me. Maybe, maybe not, but let's see what happens. Okay, now knight takes e5. And then I'm looking for something, but there's nothing here. There's a take on f2. But then the knight goes back. So he plays queen f5. Threatening mate here. The only way to defend is queen b2. Okay, white makes suicidal move now, f3. Weakening the structure even more, but let's say he plays like a human here and plays queen b2. Defending this square. Is there still a chance for survival? The problem is, like, there's no c5 or something because of this. That might not even work because of queen e4 check, for example. Interesting. So maybe even c5 works. I mean, you got to watch for weird moves like g4. But how are we finishing white off after this with no pawn break? Do you have a brute force method for finishing white off? White can't castle. Bishops control the entire diagonal. That's illegal. So I don't know. I want to check what the computer says. +5 and wow, c5 is the best move. Unbelievable. Black doesn't have anything better. I mean, this is kind of thematic, though. You know, the other break like f6 and then c5. That's literally black's best move. There's nothing else. Because I was thinking maybe like rook to b4, trying to take this out. Rook b4 is probably strong. You've got funny variations. I don't know. Like, what happens here? Yeah, knight c6, queen here, knight e5, and then rook takes d4. And everything falls apart like a house of cards. That's pretty messed up. Does this work? Rook takes d4, queen e5 check. Knight e2. Bishop takes e2. Hypothetically. That might be strong. Taxi Driver might be a great movie. I have it on DVD. You want to buy it? Alright. Queen a4, rook d1, rook b8, b3, f6. There, takes. Here, f3. Reminded of Taxi Driver by Uber Driver. That's why he said that. So the bishop's hanging in this position. The advantage of keeping the queen on a3, you stay on it. But that's the problem. He had to play this very awkward move, rook b6. So what about king f2? Now it's dropping a piece to queen c2 check. That's pretty handy. So there's no king f2 because of queen c2 check winning a knight. I mean, white got greedy with queen e7. But that'd be a problem. There is no threat. White has no threat here. Yeah, I mean, like, what about, like, bishop g5? My gosh. Is that going to be an issue? The white king will come over to d2. Let's ask the first question. Queen c2, queen e6 check. Maybe this is not an issue. King here, knight f7 check, whatever. We just take it. You take it, and then you're getting crushed with some kind of mating attack. But is it a mating attack? It doesn't matter. I mean, we're probably winning anyway. Just bringing the rook, like, back to b8 or something. So I think this is good enough. So white finally didn't play queen e6 check. Alright, yeah, I mean, this is brutal. It's over. That drops the rook. And then just this. That's a mate. Mate in one. Queen g3, sneaky. The queen is very subtle. So let's see if you play queen e6 check. Last try. Queen e6 check, king h8. This is the only try. Knight f7. Takes. Queen takes. And as I said, queen takes check, king f2. And are probably playing rook b8. Or you can play this first. So basically, there's no mate, but you have two bishops for a rook. Rook b8. Like, let's say rook e1. My concern is that if you did something like this, let's say, if you go into an ending like this is not a guaranteed win. This could be very, very difficult if black were to play inaccurately. This kind of structure not so easy for black. So you want to keep the queens on the board there. Still, it was a very good game by Uber Driver. Uber Driver is not here, right? He's out being Robert De Niro. Alright. So that's the first two games. Yeah, those are awesome bishops. I've actually had games like that. as well. Ampersand versus Tezake. The English opening. English defense versus English opening. I actually played a lot with b6. I like to play this myself. Less shameful than last time. Alright, so knight c3. Here I know quite a bit. Right. Bishop b7. The move I have the most trouble with is e4. Sorry, not e3. e4 is the most serious. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, white is d4. White can transpose to an English defense. d4 maybe. d4 here, a3, or e4. There's a lot of variations you have to know. Yeah, so I've been playing this lately, but I'm not sure objectively if this is better or worse than e6. My last couple games I played e5, just for something different. What this essentially is a b3 or Schneider Sicilian reversed. But e5 was less known, so I experimented with that in a couple of games. It's newer. Look at the games in the list. Morozevich 2013, Daniel Dubov 2016, George Meyer 2019, and Nigel Short 2012. So when the 4 top games are in the last 10 years, you know you're in fairly modern territory. This is a newer idea. I always used to play e6. The problem is you get these like g3 guys. That's boring. I'm trying to remember. I think I faced knight in e2. I faced everything. d4. But mostly people will play g3. That's the most common. It's pretty solid for white, actually. So what happens here? Knight f3. You play knight f6. You've got to be prepared to play like a Queen's Indian. So often hedgehog. White play g3. Yeah, I mean, I've played bishop takes f3 before, but it's not that great. I was looking at one of Astrobai's games where he played like the black side of this recently, just earlier today. The black side of white's position, like white with black colors reversed, if that makes any sense. I was telling him most people don't do this. It's not that great because after e takes c5, if you try to get control of d4, white can play d4. And even not playing d4 is okay for white. For example, like f4, knight c6, bishop g2. White is actually very, very solid here. I would rather have the knight on g8 to go to e7 and f5 than on f6. So you go into a hedgehog Queen's Indian. Bishop g2, bishop e7, castles. So I've played here. I've played mostly c5. But the problem is if I play c5, I would be out of my normal hedgehog move order. So castles, castle, d4, and now you've got mainline Queen's Indian with knight e4. You know, d5 isn't bad. It's really not that bad. Karpov played knight a6. I actually have a hard time against this. I've lost twice now with with white against knight a6. It's a very like rope-a-dope way for black to play. Karpov used. I lost against Medved and Chernyshov. The Queen's Indian this is the problem piece. But it's like, okay, what do you do? What is white supposed to play? Bishop f4, bishop g5, b3, rook e1, queen c2. I don't know what white's supposed to play. It's really hard to find like the right move. And it's really easy for white to like overextend himself. Look at the top move. Look at the score here for black, actually. That's pretty disturbing. It looks like in the database, black has a plus score, or at least equal. Anyways, you should try it. But 94 is main line. So you got the Keith Arkle variation. I've had many a quick draw in this line. This is the draw variation. I did lose to Arkle. 94, bishop e4, knight h4, bishop g2. You know, there's an interesting move here, f5, if you're ever interested. This is actually playable. I saw a young Vietnamese grandmaster who was playing here in Hungary prepare this for one of the regular guys. White's like playing for a draw, and he's like, no, I don't want to draw. I'm going to play f5. And it's a little uncomfortable. Like, what's white supposed to do after f5? This knight is under attack. This is, you know, this is another question. What about knight e1? Maybe knight e1 is more accurate than knight h4. So that your knight isn't constantly under attack. I don't know if f5 is possible here. But that's this game. Wow, it's Farago versus Win Troxon. So check it out. He drew anyway, but black was playing for a win in this game from 2004. Farago Ivan knew to play knight e1, and then after f5, okay, he managed to hold a draw. But white has no wins at all and a couple losses. So if you want to win, I guess that's a good way to go. Anyway, this is very drawish. d5. So my last time playing this was against Farago Ivan. We had d5, queen a4, and I've played both queen d7 and queen e8. I don't remember how I lost to Arkle, one of these endings. The guy who recently wrote the book Arkle's Endgames, or Arkle's Endings. I wonder if I'm in the book. Probably not. I don't know. But it was definitely an endgame after 10 moves. I didn't realize how much of a specialist he really was. So I shouldn't have played such a line. Queen d7. Is Queen's Indian defense generally drawish? Well, I mean, I consider it very solid. It's my go-to. It would be my go-to if I want to have at least a draw. You know, if I don't want to risk. It's safer than like most other stuff, like the Bogo Indian. Yeah, it's very solid. I wouldn't necessarily call it drawish, but black does not have to take a lot of risks. But this is a very drawish variation. I mean, white played knight takes c4. The normal moves are bishop d2, queen c2. This is standard. This is a player who's either playing for a draw or an endgame specialist like Arkle. One of two possibilities. But I don't know about bishop f6. See, you're better off putting your pawn on d5. It does create some weaknesses, but your main pawn will be opposite your bishop on e7. So, queen a4. This is a variation too. Look, check it out. There's like Portish versus Karpov, 1980. White has this like almost imperceptible type of advantage in a few of these lines. I don't know, you know. You don't want to play this with Karpov. Queen takes c4, c5. So check it out. D takes c5, bishop takes c5, bishop e3, knight d7. Is this pleasant? Rook fd1, queen e7, bishop takes c5, knight takes c5, knight e3, rook fd8, rook takes d8, rook takes d8. And now it's just like blatantly playing for a draw with rook d1. But I think there's ways that White can try for a little more than a draw, if he's very accurate. Anyway, we have bishop takes c4, takes, here bishop f6. Now I'm worried the center will advance. But this move, I mean, this e3 is lame. You know, what's he doing? He's putting his pawns on dark squares with a dark square bishop on c1. That doesn't look great. I guess knight c6 is okay. You have to get it out. But I, again, would rather put my pawns on the white squares if I can get it. There's actually a game here from 1973. Wow. Where Craven played knight a5, attacking the pawn, inducing b3, and then trying to break with c5. I don't know, Black consider sacking the exchange here, but it looks a little over the top. I don't think we can do that. Objectively, it looks like White was still okay. Yeah. Black was like trying to play for a win, but the computer says that White is actually still better. He did eventually win with Black. This is a little unconventional. Now, knight b4 is not rooted in reality. Is the plan to play c5? But there's no open diagonal here. Okay, I get it. You play knight d3. Well, that's fine, actually. a3 is a blunder. Your threat is to play knight d3 and trade off his bishop. Okay. He never should have played e3. I don't know what I wanted him to play, but I guess I wanted him to play e4. His queen is protecting d4. And he's starting e5, maybe. Still not a bad game. So you're fine now. And, I mean, what is happening here? Is that a free pawn? Alright. Yeah, that's a free pawn. Right? Knight b2. Or is it? There's a trick. Knight b2, bishop b4. But you can always play c5 if you have to. It's not so simple. Here, here. If you move your rook, he has queen e2, trapping your knight. But again, the situation looks... You know, I was thinking this. Here. Trapping your knight theoretically, but you still have c5. The knight is trapped, though. Well, it's virtually trapped. c5, bishop e1, like b5. The situation is complicated, you know, but your knight could lead to problems. So various problems with that knight getting potentially trapped or half trapped. Bishop e4. First of all, you might want to try c5. It's a very important concept. Camel culture, welcome. I call it camel culture. We haven't seen you in a long time. How's it going? Camel culture also streaming from time to time, as well as his sister. So, let me understand something here. c5. What I wanted to make the point was, Teze, you must calculate forcing moves first. I mean, c5 actually looks decent. What's he going to do? Let's calculate a forcing move. If takes, take, bishop takes c5, your knight's protected, rook e8 or d6, no pins, and the c4 is just hanging. So you're going to win a pawn out of this, like by force. That's extremely easy to see. Attacking a bishop, take, and then take this, and you're up a pawn. Looks pretty easy to me. How'd it go? Rook e8, rook c1. So you responded passively with rook e8. I mean, he could have played queen e2. I still think you're fine, though. You have c5. You have that garbage with, like, knight a4 and b5. Like, bailing your knight out. There are ways you can save your knight even now. It's not too late. So rook e8 was a little passive, normal-ish move. Then he just allows this. I'm not sure that's the best move. You're up a pawn here. You got that whenever you want, for now. The other plan is obviously to lock it into c4. So you could just play d5 again. Just creating an outpost for your knight. And after that, what's he going to do? This is a position where you're thinking about, all right, I'm better. It's a question of, can I win it or not? If I play it like this, I can get a really strong knight outposted on c4, while avoiding like any real exchanges, and also, you know, ultimately, maybe the a3 pawn gets weak. I'm a little concerned about this. This is what happened when I lost ascending against Arkle. He got like some kind of thing where he got his pieces on my d5 pawn. I played c6, but it was a target. Yeah, this is a problem. Like, he's on our d5 now, and how do we protect it? You can't play this without dropping this. And if we drop that, then black's in trouble. So ironically, you know, it may not be fast enough, the d5, because he got c-file and whatnot. Maybe you did what you had to do. Rook e8 was questionable, but here, just trade. The only thing I don't like is this, that you fix his pawns. You've got to understand you're fixing his pawn structure by bringing that toward the center. Though your knight is basically trapped now, so I don't think you have another way out. You can play this all day long, but you're going to lose that knight. So I'm afraid at this point, once you play knight d3, like, you have no other way out. You're going to have to trade it and fix his pawn structure. Okay, so he's down a pawn, but now he doesn't have a nice Solani. The bishop isn't that great in this closed position. a5 is good, though. Take, and no. You took with the d pawn here. I understand you're thinking like you have a passed pawn, but it's bad for your structure. You need to take with the rook. I mean, you've got stuff like this. Don't ask me if this is a win or a draw, because I don't know. You know, maybe it's a draw, maybe it's a win, but there's obviously no chance that black can lose up a clear pawn for nothing. If you play it this way, he's also got this pawn that's somewhat of a liability on c4. So I prefer that better. Alright, that's a big move right there. I mean, basically, this guy has a bishop on f6 he's facing, and he's putting his rooks on b2 and a1. Hello, does that seem like a good idea, you know? I know there's a pawn on d4 and a pawn on e3, but, like, why go out of your way to, like, put your rooks on b2 and a1? That's a really poor idea. You basically, when you've got an opponent who has a dark squared bishop, you want to put all of your stuff on white squares and make your bishop into what is essentially like a specter, a non-existent entity. Plus, you need to think about putting your pawns probably on the white squares. I would try to play like c6. This is bad, man. Rook b2. Now, immediately you had c5. I mean, that actually looks like a good move. This changes the pawn structure to your, you know, I think in your favor. If he has time to play c5, he might be alright. Again, he had time, but now bang. This is a problem. Now you also target the c4 pawn. If he loses second pawn, it's game over for sure. Oof. That's a slight miscalculation. And game over. A sudden end to our epic battle. I think this pawn is going to be a queen. Alright. But an interesting game. A lot was going on there in the short 25 moves. Camel Culture just submitted a game. Game number 10. Is that game number 10? I don't know how long the line is. I don't know. I'm not a sub, but I've been showing this game to anyone who will look at it. Shame on you for not being a sub. Alright. Let's add it to the list. But only because he's an old friend. Camel Clutcher. Sorry. Going to his profile. Spying on him. Delver Flips submitted a game last week under Masta, B8, Benko Gambit. Iobatis, do we have a game from Delver? Is there a game in the stream? In the study from Delver? I remember him doing a game. I remember him doing a game last week. Oh no. Alright, let's delete Camel Culture. No, I can't delete Camel Culture. Alright. Let's just add another one. I'll try to get to all the games. But you're supposed to send them... Oh, the other one from last week? Well, I didn't know that was your submission for this week. No, we're never going to do your game, Bijak. Never. Never, ever. Yeah. No, but I didn't understand that you're putting this in for this week. You got to send them to Iobates. Here, for next time. Next time will not be accepted unless it's sent to Iobates. Understand? Analysis stream of 10th of June. I can't be held responsible. Oh, no. 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 You'll have to work it out with Iobates. It's not even an option to add that. You sent it to Hanging Rooks to upload. Yeah, you mean Cooking Rooks. Close. Send it to somebody. Send it to Iobates. I can't be dealing with that now. The camels need to stick together. Spectacular Camel gifted a tier 1 sub to Camel Culture. Camel Culture. Anyway, you gotta see if you can figure that out, man. Because I don't have time to like be like putting in PGNs and stuff. We've got to get to these other games. If you guys send me a study, you got to make it like a setting in the study or whatever that I can be allowed to copy the game or whatever. It's in the link is in the link is in the stream. Spectacular Camel. See if you could do something with it. All right, I'm going back to study now. I don't know where I am anymore. Why do I have no back button? What is going on here? Why do I have no previous page or whatever? Dude, what is going on around here? Oh, man, that's annoying. Alright, whatever. Tools analysis board. No. Tools, study, learn. Studies I contribute to. Alright, we're going back. Analysis stream. Alright. Sumaher. Thanks everybody for being a subscriber. Thanks Camel Clutcher. Camel Clutcher. Always one of my favorite names. Hot here. Where's the link? I only saw the one that is already added. Wait, what do you mean one that's already added? Spectacular Camel. What one that's already added? It's already added? How did it get added? How does it already added? Try Alaska. One of our viewers is in Alaska. Close to Colorado. Alright. Let's see. Yeah, I hate living in Budapest though, man. It's like hot as Hades here. For a Central European country, you wouldn't think it was that bad. But there's no airflow. I always used to spend the summers in the U.S. Northeast, where it wasn't that bad. But I can't stand being here in Budapest in the summer, man. Most of the people go to Lake Balaton. I am probably going to go on a vacation for a week once I get my COVID vaccine card to show the hotelier. I'm not allowed to like stay in hotels without a vaccine card. All right, we've got Sumaher versus. Oh no, are you serious? You got to submit the game against me, Sumaher. What are you trying to do? We're ban this game from. I'm not going to do my own loss on stream. Are you serious? He should be banned. I can't believe you're submitting your win against me. I didn't even realize it. Alright, we'll run through this quickly. Camel culture lives in like Colorado or something. I've never even gone skiing in my life. d4, e6, c4, knight f6, knight c3, bishop b4, queen c2, c5. Right. Alright, so this was game one. We actually played 2 games in the same move order. Recently, this is a very, very unusual move. So the first time... Was this the first game or the second game? This is actually the second game. Well, that's odd. Okay. So the first game I played pawn takes pawn, and then I tried to do something active. I guess the first game I played take and d5. You recently visited Delmarva and liked the humidity. You liked the humidity. Oh my god. We had the house at the beach in New Jersey, and like if you like, it had like a little attic when I was a kid. If you would like crawl up in the attic part, you could like die from the humidity and heat. It was so hot. Yeah, man. Maryland is the worst though. Probably like Maryland. Baltimore, Maryland, Virginia. Oh my god, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be any further south than like Connecticut or something in the summer. Yeah, I grew up in New Jersey, so we would spend the summer at the Jersey Shore, and the humidity is devastating. I'm used to that. Similar to here, actually, weather-wise. I would say like the Jersey Shore and Jersey and Budapest are fairly similar. Knight c6, knight f3, d5. So anyway, I keep thinking about this position. I mean, nobody plays e3. There's got to be a way for black to just make this into a joke. How do we make this like just nothing for white? Knight c6, look at the score. Sample size, 20 games. That's a lot. Right? No, it's not. So I basically followed the engine's suggestion and played knight c6. I'm still not sure about this. Now he plays knight f3. And the problem is, okay, knight c6 means you can't play like b6 and bishop b7. So there goes any like fun hedgehog style stuff. Oh yeah, Vegas heat. Yeah, Vegas in the summer, man. Yeah, you'll never be able to leave. You'll never be able to leave the hotel. You're nice and close there. It's not far from Colorado. I've been in Colorado. I think we went through Colorado on a train. I went from Chicago to Vegas on the train. That was not really fun. Make sure you're with someone you like if you take a train from Chicago to Vegas. Let's see. D5 though. I'm bummed out about this. You know, I don't feel like this is very fun. He took here on c5. So now it's a Queen's Gambit accepted. What am I supposed to play? Maybe there's something better than bishop takes c5. So Inkiyov, no relation to Pac-Man. I think this guy actually might have passed away recently, along with 10% of the world population. Inky, his handle on lichess was Pac-Man's Ghost. No, seriously, this guy may have passed away. I saw some Facebook reference to Inkiyov in the last couple months. Either a birthday or death, I'm not sure. D takes c5, bishop takes c5. I hope he's still alright. Never met him. William Paschall versus Mikhail Zlatnikov? What? What? Dude, what is that game? What? I don't even understand what that game is. Where did I play Zlatnikov with this with white? Why would I do that? It doesn't even make sense. 1995, I won my only USCF title ever. I won the US Class Championship Open section, tied for first in 1995 after losing the first round and re-entering against Palatnik. I don't remember drawing Zlatnikov in that tournament. That's weird. What is that game? I drew with Palatnik. I drew with another good player. With Ronald. I played Odendahl in Las Vegas. I lost to that guy. He's probably not from out there originally, though I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm getting off the subject. I don't understand what this game is from. Why would I play that with white? Weird. What did I play? So I played A3. Let's see if I remember any of this. What would Zlatnikov do? Castle? Maybe not. What did Zlatnikov do? Nope. A5. There's Odendahl. Bishop E6. So he had to have done castles, but the game, now there's a million games. I wouldn't play B4. Alright, my only explanation for this game is that I guess I was like studying Rubinstein games and I was playing a Queen's Gambit accepted reversed. I don't know how it happened though. Dude, I don't remember this game. I think it was the US class championship that I tied for first. So I had there was like a 6-way tie for first. That was the tournament where I played Palatnik twice with black in the same tournament. Because I re-entered, and there was no rules about re-entry. They were just starting it in 1995. So the first game, it was a King's Indian, Averbach. He, like, wasted me. The second game, I played the same variation, but I slightly improved, and I managed to, like, hang on and draw a king and pawn endgame after, like, 7 hours. And I hang on to draw that endgame and, like, tie for first in the tournament. I must have drawn Ronald... Palatnik, but I forgot that I drew a Zlotnikov. I tried to put it out of my mind. Yeah, that doesn't make sense even. It doesn't make sense. There was another guy in that tournament who wasn't Zlotnikov. You know what it is? I think I figured it out. There was this guy named Zlotnik. It's got to be a mistake. It's got to be a mistake. There was this younger guy named Zlotnik who was like an IM or something. And they must have entered the game wrong. A lot of them were screwed up. Like, I have a game in the database from that tournament that says that I beat Yermo with black in a Queen's Gambit accepted. But it's actually Josh's game. It was a white skin game where he beat Yermo in the tournament. And then they credited me with that win. I have several wins against Yermo, but that's not one of them. But when you put it together with the ones I really beat Yermo, it looks like I'm like 3-0 against him. So that explains it. It's not actually Zlotnikov. It's Zlotnik. It was a mistake in entry. What's up, Tom Bartel? So I must have drawn 3 games and won 3 games in a 6-round tournament to tie for first. But that was funny. Playing Palatnik twice with black, it was ridiculous. It was the first round. I went to the tournament. I'm one of the higher rated players for sure. I'm like 2,400. But like nobody went because it was Syracuse, New York. There was like nobody there. There was two schedules. So I get freaking paired on board 2 or 1 with Palatnik. And I got drunk like before the game started. So I'm basically like sitting in the bar. I arrive at the hotel at like 12 o'clock. I sit down in the bar, figure I'm going to play like a 2000 player, and I start drinking at around 12 or 1 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, I'm a little bit drunk, and I see the pairings is like me versus Palatnik. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Not only do I get paired with a Grandmaster, even though I'm 2,400 in round 1, but I'm drunk. It was ridiculous. And I put up a good fight, against him. But still, it wasn't to be. But it's a funny way to like win the tournament. My only USCF, official USCF, national tournament that I tied for first. It was like me, maybe Yermo didn't. It must have been me, Waitskin, and like a couple others to tie for first. Anyways, all right, let's continue with the game. Enough stories. So it's a Queen's Gambit accepted reversed. I was pretty bummed out here. I mean, I don't want a total draw. D4 is like liquidating, probably drawish. This is super boring, right? So what do? I decided to play A5. I pretend I'm white in a Queen's Gambit accepted. What does the old stockfish say? Of course, the boring, symmetrical D takes C4 is the best move. I played A5, the second best. But check out what happened. The guy goes knight A4. Sumehari's here. He plays knight A4. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's weird. Knight on the side of the board. Bishop A7. And then C5. This is like Maniac style. And I missed knight E4. I was like, whatever. What I didn't realize is how dangerous this is. I made like one stupid move, basically. All he had to do was play knight e4 and everything's fine. He's triple attacked on c5 and he's just in trouble. But I carelessly played e5 and all of a sudden rook b1 and this queenside thing is coming at me. It's a pretty inventive idea. So I started to panic here. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do anymore. I didn't see anything. I think I spent a long time. 7 minutes on this move. I'm playing the weekly simul. I'm talking a lot. G6 never entered my freaking mind. It never entered my mind. I had like a total mental block. Like, this move does not exist in my mind. Why is it that that move doesn't exist? Can you explain to me? This seriously never ever entered my mind to play G6. That is messed up. I mean, it's kind of an unusual move, considering like you might play b4 and go to the long diagonal with the bishop, but man, totally missed it. I played this like ordinary developing move, and now he's just all over me with the queenside expansion. And now I have to be really, really careful. Because the knight swinging into b6. And I don't know. I just played a stupid move. I didn't know what else to do. I just ran out of ideas. I was looking at this. I guess the problem was I didn't see a good place to put my rook. But it may not be that bad. Like knight a7, knight b6, rook a7. There's this pawn. I just felt like I was going to get discombobulated. Where is like my knight going now? I have to put that on a ridiculous square too. Where am I going to go? Here? Here? Like, where the heck are my pieces going at this point? Maybe now e4, you know, some sort of complicated sequence. But black has to be very calculating. And I just like randomly did this. Okay, I'm trading off his good bishop, but who cares? Now this pawn reinforces c5. I have no attack. And this is just the final like blunder. I just blundered now. So I remember this position too. I wanted to play bishop b8, but I was concerned about bishop g5 and knight b6. So for example, knight b6. Again, I can probably play rook a7. It's not the end of the world. But I started to be upset about d5. Like for example, bishop g5. I've got a really ridiculous rook. My d5 pawn is weak. What am I going to do? So I played this moronic move like queen d7, and I just didn't see b5. I thought white was going to play like knight c3 or something, and you played b5, and I was like, what? You can play b5? Wow, I wish I had seen that. So I was pretty demoralized at this point. Like, I missed literally that you can play b5. b5 came as a complete surprise. That's pretty bad. Anyway, guys, I have to move along a little bit faster through the games. It was good to see some people I haven't seen in a while. Spinal Tap, Camel Culture. Who else was here? World Loser, Dr. Trip Chance. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Camel Culture got a gift sub. But it's not fair to get paired when you're like a 2400 plus rated player. It's not fair to get paired with a grandmaster in the first round of tournaments. That's not fair. That's why I don't like arenas. All right, b5. It happened to me once again at a tournament in Vermont once, but I wasn't drunk at least. I had a long car ride, and it showed up at this tournament in Vermont, where I was like an IM, and had to play like a Copion in the first round. And the other thing is, like, I'm always black, because you're like, I don't know, they're giving white to the Grandmaster on board 1 or something. Isn't it supposed to be like a coin flip or something? Mr. Coffee, is the higher rated player always given? You would know. Spinal Tap. I never really thought about it. Does the higher rated player automatically get white on board 1? Isn't it like a flip of a coin or something? Why do I always get black against 2700 players or whatever I'm playing in the first round of like 8 player sections? I get a Copian after like driving for 6 hours. Oh, it's okay. I'm going to play a 2000 player. It's no big deal. Bishop F4. Nice game by Sumaher. And that black is like strategically lost here, I think. The computer says it's just 1. Like, if you play perfectly, black is only worse by 1. But this is like a perfect strategic position. You have active pass pawn, essentially. I can do nothing. Look at my stupid kingside majority. That's my majority. I can't even move my f-pawn. It would take me like 17 moves to move my f-pawn while I get my queen and my knight out of the way. Meanwhile, I'm getting toasted on the queen side. This is awful. And then knight c3. I mean, maybe somehow I'm still alive here. I played bishop e8. He trades. And then he just takes over the a file. Simplification doesn't help me. His advantage remains. This is essentially a protected pass pawn for white. I mean, call it what you want. It's technically... There's no technical protected pass pawn, but it's there. It's just invisible. I played h5. What is black supposed to do in this position? Knight h5 with the idea of knight f4. Yeah, whatever. Black is lost here. And then there's this. I just gave up pretty quickly. I was demoralized. Knight c3 and I resigned. I resigned here. I would resign against Kamsky too. It's like positional beatdown, and you've only used like half your time to do that. What is white's like statistical result in this game? You must have made some mistakes, right? But at the end, it looks like you played a perfect game. In reality, there were some mistakes. All right, guys, I gotta move a little bit faster. An awful game by me, and a decent game by my opponent. It looks like in reality. All right, thanks everybody for joining. We've got to get to more games. I hope I get to all the games. I've got Astrobate versus Schwego. So you're playing white. Astrobate is white. E4, B6, knight c3, facing his own opening. Some people are very good positionally. Yeah, I mean, I was just like lost strategically there. F4, E6, knight F3. Astrobate is playing the Grand Prix attack against the Owen, which I guess you can play against anything. I would think that black would go with D5. It's not possible to take with the bishop, right? This would be nuts. You can't do that. The only thing is, like, in this type of situation, this bishop ends up kind of blocked. It's not necessarily ideal for black. A decent exchange French, although f4 doesn't help white that much. So d5 from the perspective of like closed Sicilian is a good move. When you see a German or Eastern European flag, you try to make a tactical mess. They're probably strongest in quiet positions and in games. I mean, I think that yeah, the chess culture in Europe is a little more reliable than the United States. I mean, typically American players were always more random. Although I think these things are less and less relevant with more people just learning online. Like, you used to think that about like Russian players, but there's no more like pioneer palaces anymore. I mean, I don't think like, you know, everyone in Russia has gone to the Pioneer Palace to study endgames with Uncle Yermo. It's getting more and more random, like, you know, stylistically, how everybody. But I could see like traditionally, your viewpoint, camel culture. Knight f6, d3. Yeah, I mean black should play d5. Probably. It's a kind of close Sicilian. Asterbate though made a big change in his opening repertoire. He's trying to do like f4 and play Grand Prix attack. This is a ridiculous move by black. However, what do you do? How do you handle it? You know, do you play d4, suddenly changing the structure? Do you want Asterbate to play like g3? See, he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do. He sees knight g4 and he thinks fishing pole. His opponent is Brian Wall. I don't know. If you play d4, it's interesting. Then back to b4, and you've like provoked this weakness of e4. Very odd. It's like Asterbate versus Asterbate. You know, interesting move here is actually queen e2, because then on knight g4 you can refute it with knight d1. This maneuver, Asterbate, you might want to keep in mind. Refuting that early knight to g4 by bringing the knight back to d1. I would think that black's game here would be very suspect. Yeah, Asterbate does. He's playing himself. Like, he likes to make moves like bishop c5 to provoke d4 and then go back. He also likes the fishing pole. So he understands exactly. He has a very good psychological, you know, handle of what his opponent is trying to do. So he plays h3. And I don't think that's such a bad move, actually. There's a huge hole here. If knight h5, we have knight e2. However, and well, black has a problem. That looks like a serious problem. I mean, what are you going to do about g4? There's not enough pressure in the center, and white's threatening g4 now. So h3 may actually be decent. Maybe he should literally do the fishing pole. I mean, I don't know. Oh, okay. You want to play d5? There's a principled move. The only thing is, okay, where's your knight going? Obviously, you can always play d5. I'll play e5, then you've got to move. Probably here. Knight g8. The bishop is weird on c5. I agree that black's position isn't too bad, but I mean, he's going to end up... White has to be alright because that bishop on c5 for sure. Black will eventually end up losing time because that bishop is bad. Antonio, thanks for joining us. You have to leave? You did not submit a game for today. Did you? No, it's too late. Too late. Get out of here. Oh, you did, but it's number 9. Antonio, you can't stay. All right. Check it out later. So he actually played knight h5. Dude. You got to play knight e2. What are you going to do about the knight coming in? Isn't that a problem? Or do you want to go like crazy style? g4, knight g3, rook h2, allow knight takes f1, king f1. I mean, it's probably not correct, but playable. But he does this. So what about the e4 pawn? Isn't this a problem? Like, I understand that maybe knight g3 is asking too much. Oh yeah, f5 after an 82. So I was thinking f5, we do it anyway, right? Like g4. Oh, you got something here. Oh my gosh. Oh no, it's for real. So it's too strong. Yeah, you're murdering me. Oh man. Yeah. So f5 is just good. So you're right. You can't afford to play 92. So you either call his bluff with g4, let him in, and play like rook h2, or you do what Astrobate did. But I don't understand what we're going to do about the e4 pawn now. How are we going to protect this and this square from knight g3? He goes back. Yeah. So this is hanging, whatever that's worth. But it looks like white is lost. g4, knight g3, rook g1, bishop takes c3. Yep. He loses the central pawn. It is an Owens. Oh my god. There's the computer move rook h2. Or the computer move h4. What's the moral of the story? Don't play h3 in the closed Owens. Man, that was totally refuted. So what's the best move? Queen e2? This reinforces e4. But Astrobate's not aware of that. I don't think he's aware of the knight d1 maneuver that's commonly used in the French. This actually looks reasonable. Because you've got the ability to castle queenside too, man. I mean, that's going to be a component of this. But I think this is really interesting. Obviously, f5 will be difficult now. Alright, now you know, Astrobate. You got a very bad game here. You're basically busto. Totally busto against your own opening. He used to play the Owen all the time. Man, this is terrible. Trades off a strong knight for the bishop. It's a little lazy. Castle. Oh, whoa, wait a minute now. I don't know, maybe I want to stay on f2. I'm not so sure about castling queenside, but what the heck. It probably doesn't matter, like half dozen of one, six of the other. Theoretically, I think white's king is probably safest on like h2 in this position. Objectively. It's difficult to get there, though. You have to play like king f2, king g3, king h2. Really troll your opponent. So Astrobate castled queenside. So far, it feels like he's playing an engine or something. Knight a5, f5, and then black just chopped. Bishop f3, bishop f3. I mean, this guy's been good for... He's good for a 1600, man. c6. And then Astrobate trades queens. So interesting. Bishop versus knight, but the h-file is a problem. You seem to have the better minor piece. Very strong pressure on the h-file. So that was a tricky move. Objectively, he shouldn't trade queens on your terms. You're not threatening anything. So black should make some kind of sensible move, whatever that may be. This h-file looks like a problem. But I'm not sure this is necessary. Like, is there a threat here? There is a threat of f5. Okay. Here, here, another good move. And now f6. He doesn't want to trade. This is reasonable. And the black has some problems with this. Damn. So I guess he has to act fast. Is it possible to play like e5? What's black's best move here? E5. Black doesn't realize that the danger. He plays G6. Now you're going to have to play H6 and like lose a pawn to avoid getting mated on the H file. This is tricky. And then he sneaks in. And black realized. Or didn't realize. Now it's too late. H6 doesn't matter. Oh my god. So he had to play H5 to not get mated. Oh, this is sick. Takes. It's all caving in. Now bishop E4. That's the key component. Black is an endgame god. He was practically winning. Is he going to regret bishop takes F3 for the rest of his life? Or what? Can you imagine he traded his bishop on B7 for that knight on F3 to get him this beautiful endgame? Dude, it's just totally over. What a comeback. Ouch. That hurts. Now all you need is one pawn and one rook. Dude. Astrobate, this is I will not accept this. Next move. Don't call it a comeback. Astrobate, you have G7 and Rook H8 mate. And you didn't do it. Astrobate forgot his... He forgot his original style somewhere. I mean, this is mate too. Obviously, you know, like take, check, King F7, and mate. At some point, he just started playing positionally or something. So here he's like taking on F7. What is that, like mate in 4 or something? Check. Now bishop G6 looks interesting. That's what he did. This is like the slow boat to China. Here. And then he faked him out. He can't resist material. If you play Rook E7 really fast, the old Astrobate would never miss this mate in 1. You traded your mate in 1 skill for like positional subtlety. It's actually tricky to give mate there now. So he promoted. This is like his first promotion. Second ever. Alright, man. The end of the game was a little bit of a disappointment, honestly. Mr. Coffee versus Vivek 90. Uber driver, I didn't wait. We did your game first. A second. D4 knight f6. Mr. Coffee, thanks for submitting. Guys, we have an hour left in the stream. I've got a bunch of games. Hopefully we're still going to get to them all. But I like to get distracted and talk about stories and stuff. Let's get a hype train going. I agree. We've got the hype train. Now, move 11, I have a question. Why do you have hype train conductor and Astrobate lost his? Can you explain how Astrobate lost his hype train conductorship? And you still have yours? That's weird. Let's get a hype train going. Absolutely. Stories are greater than analysis. Yeah, but that's, you see, that detective work earlier, my game against Mikhail Zlatnikov was a lie. It was Mikhail Zlatnik. I knew that I never played Zlatnikov in that year, in that time. And certainly later I was much stronger than Zlatnikov. I beat him a couple times. But we managed to figure that out. Move 11 with 100 bets, starting the hype train. Start it slowly, build up. Cooking Rooks just did the AC fund for 4,000. Whoa, move 11. Where's the hype train conductor? In 1995, you were -3. Oh man, I was just thinking. I've got this book in my bathroom. It's like a combination book. I was just reading through it. Combination book from First Saturday. It's based on the games played in the First Saturday tournaments. And today, I looked at the cover and it said from 1992. I was like, oh, damn. I wasn't there in 1992. I played the first time in Hungary in 1996. But those tournaments here have been held since around 1992, shortly after the fall of the Berlin Wall. Nagy Laszlo started organizing tournaments here. But I remember seeing advertisement in the Swiss chess magazine at the Boylston Chess Club, Schachwache, whatever it's called. I don't know if that still exists. But Harry Lyman used to subscribe to all these chess magazines, and they had an advertisement for First Saturday chess tournaments, circa like 1992. And that's how I found out about First Saturday. Literally an advertisement in a chess magazine, like a real chess magazine from Switzerland in 1992 at the Boylston Chess Club. Delver Flips, thanks for gifting a Tier 1 sub to the community for Don Alfil. And Asterbait just went crazy, gifting 5 Tier 1 subs community. Schieberspieler, Just Josh J, Hume, 75, and of course the great Spinal Tap Chess, International Master, by the way, Cactao, 22. Camel Culture's now a sub. Uber Driver just donated 500 bits. We got a hype train started. Uber Driver put us over the edge. Cooking Rooks just put us way over the edge, gifting 5 Tier 1 subs community. He's gifted a total of 34 in the channel. Cooking Rooks to Chess Kudo, Elder Balam, Shildy 7, Llama 32, and Esmer Chea. Cooking Rooks, well over the edge. Level 2. We're past... What just happened? Move 11 just donated another 5 gift subs to Elford Gordon. Big fan of Fang. No, big fan of Angelina Chessborn. Move 11 to the Crunker Gamer and Chess Togo and Giraffe 16. We reached level 2 in Hype Train. That was the fastest level 2 Hype Train ever. Man, awesome. Thanks to Move 11, Cooking Rooks, Uber Driver, Asterbait. Who else was in on that? Big fan of Fang. Cooking Rooks, Asterbait, and Move 11, Uber Driver. You guys are awesome. Did I miss somebody? Move 11 is a true Hype Train conductor. Actually, Move 11, how come your Hype Train conductorship just disappeared? Delver Flips also. Delver Flips just gifted a Tier 3 gift sub to Mia Khalifa. They've given 3 gift subs in the channel. Did you lose your conductor status? Because we have a new Hype Train? You just shifted to gifter leader. I didn't think they were... I thought they were mutually exclusive. Thank you guys. Level 3 now. We're up to 24% on level 3. 25% on level 3. With 3 minutes and 40 seconds left. I'm just starting Mr. Coffee's game here. I don't know if Mr. Coffee's even here. D4, knight f6, knight f3, d5, e3, the Kali system. Hype Train for the Kali system. Mia Khalifa, this is the guy I was telling you about. What's up? Mia Khalifa got a gift sub. Absolutely. So, much thanks to Delver Flips. What's up, everybody? So we're doing Hype Train 25% now, not bad. Listening to a meeting and the stream at the same time. Thanks, Delver Flips, for the level 3 gift sub. Tier 3, to be exact. Absolutely. We got E3, knight C6. Bad idea. Alright. Everybody's welcome. Especially porn stars. What do we get? Somebody anonymous gift subbed. 1 million people. Anonymous gifter gifted 10 gift subs. Wow. 10 tier 1 gift subs from anonymous gifter, taking the Hype Train up to 71%. This is insane. I can't even analyze. Knight C6 is a terrible move. Terrible. It was anonymous. This is anonymous. Cooking Rooks, let's go. 2,500. That's why they pay me the big bucks. Cooking Rook single-handedly taking us up to 95% of hype train level 3. Almost single-handedly. With the help of Anonymous. Cooking Rooks with another 2,500. And Mr. Coffee with 100. Is that 200? Mr. Coffee with 200 bits. The turtle and the hare. The more you donate, the more you learn. Actually, you're very wise beyond your years. Camel Culture. Camel Culture, although he's not a porn star, is quite wise. You're invested in this channel. Hype Train. Alright, we got 97% with a minute left. Mr. Coffee donated 200 bits. We're at 97% for the next gift level. Knight c6, yes. If Black's allowed to play Bishop f5, he might get something going. So Uber Driver, I agree. Guys, we need like 300 more. We need like 3% more for the hype train level 3. We got 56 seconds left. 54, 53, 52. No, actually, Uber Driver, that's a good idea. 48 seconds. We need 3% more for the next hype train level. Guys, don't stop now. We have 38 seconds. We'll never make it, dude. We have 30 seconds. We only need 3%. Dr. Tripchance didn't get a gift sub. 29 seconds. I can't believe we're going to stall out. We only need like one more donation. Wow, we're that close to level 3. 17 seconds left. We made it? Did we make it? Hype train success? No, we did. Mr. Coffee gifted a gift. What? Gift sub? Level 2 completed. What happened at the end? I think I'm kind of lagging. Move 11 just gifted 5 more gift subs to Huga, Take Back, Yusuf, Hisid Nuns, and Big Body Bro. Choo choo. Maybe we didn't make tier 3. I feel kind of weird about it. But very happy you guys were generous. But it's not clear if we made to tier. We did make it, right? It wasn't that obvious to me that that hype level was completed. Did you guys get it in time? About 3 seconds late. So we were like 3 seconds late. I have lag with my stream, so it's hard to tell. The countdown ends early, but it was a huge effort. Cooking Rooks is hype train conductor, along with Asterbait and Move 11. Twitch cheated. It was close, man. You guys were super generous. Appreciate it. But let's get back to business. Thank you so much. Alright, so C4, Mr. Coffee playing white. If you're going to face this type of stuff, you got to be active. I mean, honestly, like, Bishop E5 might be an interesting move. You could play it. Mr. Coffee it's interesting. Mr. Coffee plays the French and the Kali system. Coincidence? I don't think so. It's not. Illuminati. Is it a coincidence Mr. Coffee likes his pawn structure? He likes his pawn structure solid. You might as well play the French reversed, man, and start playing like E3 on move 1. But I'm glad that Mia Khalifa got a gift sub. Alright, C4. Not just any gift sub, level 3. So special treatment. Thanks to Delver Flips. C4. Black needs to be very active here to justify this position. Although, actually, after D takes C4, I would think you would run into some kind of... Honestly, D takes C4, Bishop C4. Can we play Bishop G4? Is there a problem here, officer? And there's always the old, like, Queen B3. E6. Queen takes B7. Like, what the heck is going on? Yeah, no one's played that. Anyway, c4. But I mean, e6 looks kind of lame. But white's also played e3, so I would imagine it could transpose to like a Rogozin or something if black plays like e6 and bishop g4. Instead, black played this. But I'm a little suspect about this. I mean, it's like playing knight c6 in the e3 Grunfeld. G6 definitely looks sus. And I'm thinking, can we blow him away with CD now? I mean, are these knights really right here? If we play this, and e4, like, does g6 matter? I think black's position looks busto. I mean, Chef Master from my simuls would play like queen d5, but this also looks suspicious. Isn't cd5 just good, Mr. Coffee? So you got three 2200s. Like, survey says 2270. 2275. With 2270 players, apparently like knight c3 is very popular. But if we think a little bit outside the box, the actual truth is that maybe this is better after CD. It is a martial defense, and it's not a great one with g6 and knight c6. But 2270 players don't have the ability to think outside the box. It only happens like once you go over 2300. Because they already played e3, they're not allowed to play e4. But seriously, I don't know. You know, for me, like knight d5, queen d5, I don't know which is worse. Knight d5, e4, what's black going to do? White played e3, e4 in 2 moves, but black has his knight on c6, which looks awful. No, I think black's in a lot of trouble here. By the way, like, one of my favorite tactics is this. Like, people play d5, knight takes e4, white to move and win. Do you guys know this one? Normally it's not happening with, like, the bishop on f8. I've seen like so many people like screw up this kind of theme. Maybe white has more than one solution. What about like queen b3? Does queen b3 win a piece? Because I was thinking bishop e3, but that would allow bishop g7. So maybe like black could get some counterplay here. But queen e2 allows queen takes d5. You guys are just dropping your d5 pawns. I don't take responsibility for what happens after that. You got to keep d5 protected and keep the threat of queen a4 in the back. So I was thinking queen b3. How do you answer that? Like, I've had a lot of games where it went like this, like a proper martial defense. Let's say c4, d5, takes, knight f3. I get a lot of knight c6, e4, knight f6, d5. But check this out, right? Is this the right position? Yeah, here. Once in a while you get a smartass who plays like knight takes e4. So I've actually had this on the board multiple times. And they're like, oh, you can't like take my knight because of, you know, queen takes d1 check, and knight takes f2, and it's not so clear, right? Maybe this is even good for white. Probably this is good for white, actually. Like after here, bishop b5, b6. I mean, I imagine this might even be advantage to white. But the funny part is that you just like win a piece right away. You know, a lot of people don't see that. You just win a piece immediately with bishop e3. Like, there's no defense. You're just losing right now. Queen a4 check. Game over. Whole piece and nothing but the piece. So help you God. I've had that like at least 3 times in blitz games. So I'm thinking maybe Mr. Coffee's position is better for black, because here in this situation, yeah, this literally happened in a game. Oh, Canop did like e5, but this is... Okay, this isn't lost. Black can play this. This Estonian guy, Canop, actually lost with white against this. That's embarrassing. Alright, d5. Let's see Mr. Coffee's game. So g6, knight c3. No. You take... I was telling Astrobate this today. Mr. Coffee. Thank you guys for the hype train. Spectre Camel left, came back, missed the whole hype train. Did you miss the hype train, Mr. Coffee? You were here. You were here. You participated. But I always tell people, okay, said the same thing to Astrobate. Why did you play c4? Right? If you break it down into more like simple terms, why did you play c4? You played c4. Normally it's like a Queen's Gambit, right? We're playing it on move 2. You played c4 to destroy a center. So why didn't you destroy a center? You know? Why didn't you destroy a center? You let him play e6. I mean, after knight c3, e6, black's game becomes completely playable. I don't like it particularly because the bishop's like blocked in and his knight sucks. I call that like the... That needs a name, actually. The collision on the queen side. It's a disaster. White only has a slight advantage here. But so the question is, why not take here? Okay, black can take with the queen, but it's a free tempo. And this is a very good Scandinavian, if you want to call it that. Maybe that's better than knight takes d5, though. Well, the Mexican defense, right? It's a kind of Mexican defense, but the Mexican defense isn't that bad. You know, you're bringing one knight out. It's not that bad, man. I know Brian used to like that. Wasn't that Brian's epic game with David Grigo? Did he ever tell you about that? That's one of Brian's openings, probably. But, okay. Knight c3, e6. See, Mr. Coffee let him get away with murder here. And now he exchanges, but it's not a big deal now. That's crazy, man. 32370s. Turn on the engine. So check it out. After c takes d5, white is better by 2.2 pawns. After knight c3, white is better by 0.9. Survey says 32270s didn't play c takes d5 here. Are you serious? 2011, 2002, 2014. These guys are 2270 and they don't play c takes d5. Are you serious? Like, where are they getting their rating points? Because I want to play those guys. Can you look them up for me? Marku Hententen, Jürgen Eriksson, and D. Hofer. Because I want to play in their tournament. I want 2270s who don't understand to play c takes d5 in this position. Because that's crazy, man. How can all three players with white get it wrong? And Mr. Coffee, but Mr. Coffee's like 1900. He can be forgiven. But seriously, 32370s and they don't play c takes d. e6 takes. I don't like it here now. I don't really like it now, Mr. Coffee. You might as well just like keep your powder dry. I would just keep the pawn on c4 at this point. The best you got is some kind of normal development. I mean, bishop d3 or bishop d2. But CD, okay, it's a move. There's a Dean Hergott game from 1996. What did Hergott play? A3. Volkov. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. We've got Volkov, Neneshev, Shipov, and Milanovic all played this position. So there's your move. I guess A3. 4 Grandmasters. Survey says you keep the tension now. Mr. Coffee, you blew it on that exchange. Now it doesn't do anything. It used to work. But black takes with the knight. How bad does that move suck? He takes with the knight now? I don't know, man. You gotta take with the pawn. You got to take with the pawn. You got a strong point on d5. White's bishop sucks. And your bishops are actually not so bad. So you got a stupid knight on c6. I think I like black. It's at least equal. But knight takes d5 is another mistake. Here again, you can play e4. You don't have to, mind you. This is a decent Grunfeld, Mr. Coffee. You like black here? No way. It's a Grunfeld with a knight on c6. It's blocking your key pawn that needs to attack the center. I don't think so. Best case scenario for black is like take, bishop g7. No, I mean, I don't like this. Even bishop a3 can't castle. The other position after e5, yeah, no, black's fine after e5. This is a good game. Black's solid here. I don't know where to put this bishop, though. You know, I guess g7, but then bishop a3. So let's say b3 or something. White might still be equal. Yeah, the Swiss cheese theory is overrated. You know, this is not that big a problem. It's hard for white to exploit that. But this is bad. I mean, okay, bishop b5 isn't a terrible move. White's still better. But now Mr. Coffee really did it. Mr. Coffee, I think, like, honestly, what you did here with knight takes d5, that's basically like being black in the Sicilian and playing knight c6 takes d4, or being black in the Scotch. Let's say you're like in the mainline Scotch and you're black and you do like e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, cd4, knight d4. Now you're gonna like have the tension between these knights. And for no reason, you play like knight takes d4, queen d4, and like just centralize the opponent's queen there. And there's like no way to really equalize after that. You're voluntarily releasing tension for no good reason to the opponent's advantage. You've got to think more about your exchanges. When you're exchanging, why you're exchanging, and what the effect of this exchange is. After bishop g7, knight takes d5, why would you make that exchange? You know, I'd rather have black take here, which would reinforce my center. We're playing a game of chicken between these two pieces right now. And you have the upper hand, you have the better center. When you exchange here, even queen takes d5, you know, frees his position, but this will free his bishop probably and leave him with a strong pawn on d5. I see no advantage in making that exchange. And now Mr. Coffee goes for structure, but it's fully compensated. This looks like my last game with Camel Culture, where one of the last games we played, Camel Culture, I remember I lost to you in a Panov, where you played the line that I played with like g6 and knight c6. It's the same theme where black takes and maybe plays c5, and this bishop can become like strong in the long diagonal. This could be bad for black if he's inaccurate, but I guess he takes to the pawn and he tries to play c5 at all costs. Mr. Coffee structure. Mr. Structure. I would like kind of hope that I would lose my c6 pawn so that this long diagonal gets open. But I'm going to assume that black should not trade queens. You know, probably trading queens would make white's position a little bit more realistic. B takes c6 here. Yeah. I mean, we have a little issue. Like, how are we stopping c5? It's basically like the Catalan. If you can't stop c5, you're in a lot of trouble. Mr. Coffee's going from equal to worse in a moment. After bishop d2, c5, black's probably better. The idea is a French defense. Mr. Coffee's going, maybe I'm exaggerating, I'm getting too excited. Maybe it's unfair to say Mr. Coffee's worse here. Perhaps I'm going too far. As long as his king doesn't get stuck in the center. Is c4 ridiculous? No. C4 is kind of outside the box move. You could be 2280 if you're willing to play c4. There's a chance. There's hope for you to go beyond. c4 shows that there's hope for you to go beyond 2280, rating wise. You can think outside the box. But of course, like thematically, we want to open the position. But yeah, we don't really want to trade our good bishop off. c4 avoids the exchange of bishop, super driver. It avoids this exchange of bad bishop for a good bishop on g7, which Mr. Coffee is going to use to simplify, into what is probably like a drawn ending. I don't mind. I kind of like Camel Culture's idea to play c4, in that it avoids exchanges that might be favorable to white defensively. Alright, so it was bishop b7. That's subtle. I wonder what he's going to do next. So if we do the Igor Foigl maneuver, like something like this. No, there's no need for that, man. Rook c1, right? Oof. Now we're oofed with the oof gun. Black just was too slow. Damn. Yeah, man, you can't. Can you get him a telegraph operator? He's gotta play c5. Alright. Got the message. Like, seriously. What's the point of playing bishop e7? I want my opponent to know exactly what I'm going to do next. That's why I'm playing bishop b7. Like, it's crazy, man. Why would you play bishop b7 when you could play c5? Let's not play c5. Let's just wait until we can't play it anymore. Oh, man. Mr. Coffee owns him now with the c5 square. I think I might play it anyway. Even though it loses like a clear pawn, it might even still be black's best move at this point. Maybe losing a clear pawn is his best option. Man, that is dumb. Well, it's not that he's dumb, it's just that the poor guy doesn't think, He's simply making moves and then thinking after he made the bad move. Or maybe never. But it looks like serious problems. Seriously. Queen b5, grovel for a draw and a pawn down ending. Yeah, I don't know. Would you play bishop takes f3? This is a quick chess quiz. Is bishop takes f3 a good idea? Raise your hand if you think that's a good move. Anybody? Asterbate? Asterbate, where's your opponent from that other game? Your opponent from the other game thinks that bishop takes f3 is a good move. It's alright. You can still be 2280 and think about it, Camel Culture. As long as you don't do it. That's the important thing. It's okay to think about bishop takes f3. But just promise you wouldn't really do it. Promise me you wouldn't really do it. I don't like being down a pawn and trading pieces there. Alright, anyways. So he played this. Black's going to try to play the Magnus Carlsen like e5. So Coffee clamping down. There is a little problem here, tactically. So e5. What about your queen not being protected? Guys, I gotta go in like 40 minutes, so we're gonna have to get through the rest of these games. But I'm having fun with this. You would normally play bishop takes f3. It looked like you're going into a clearly lost ending. Or if it's not lost, very, very hard to hold. Why? Yeah, I agree. Bishop d5. Does black have e5 now? There was crazy tactics based on knight g5, queen b3, f7. I was looking at stuff, but I don't see anything clear. There's that bishop a6 popping back there. You're pinned laterally. Yeah, I mean here. Is that not the best move? Maybe queen g4. Now knight f7. For example. But like all hell could break loose, you know, on this. What the heck? What the heck is happening here? All of a sudden, like, black's bishop busts out and has some relevance. I don't know. I mean, queen f5. I was worried about like e4 for some reason. I guess it doesn't really look that great. What did he actually do? So rook c5 here. Oh my god, man. Alright, I'm done with this. Make this guy lose now. I can't watch it anymore. a6? My god. That's easily like a candidate for the worst move I've seen this week. That's sick, man. He didn't want to move his rook because it might hang his a pawn. Yeah. Now Mr. Coffee looks like... What world champion would he be most like now? Yeah, I can't watch anymore. He'll play bishop a8 discovery. This is like the time that Emery Tate played knight a8 triple exclam. It's bishop a8 triple exclam. Brutal. Brutal. Oh no. No, what happened here? Mr. Coffee. You didn't make long diagonal. Great again. How could you? How could this happen? Mr. Coffee played d5. So, what do we do, like, really? You know, we do b4? Realistically? Think about it for a while. If you had more time, you would play b4. Miss Uber Driver would do h4. I mean, come on. Whatever. Yeah, there's no threat. h4. Sure. That's kind of confident. Whatever you do, you don't do d5. You just don't do d5. Like, there's no way that's ever seeing the light of day again. Mr. Coffee, you're up a piece. You can't play d5 and let him have a relevant piece again. Unless you have, like, a forced mate. But where's the forced mate? Do you have something here? Some kind of mate? You let his bishop be great again. I know you're still winning, but it's a marginal spot now. You're only up a pawn. Oof. Give me the oof gun, cooking rooks. He's gonna sneak him with an acerbate, like, back rank mate. a3. You're like the other guy. Jeez. You could trade queens with queen e4. I would draw this, probably. I would gobble my way to a draw with queen e4. It's not easy, truthfully. Black's too weak on the dark squares. There it is. A little late, though. Mr. Coffee's setting it up now with bishop c3. Yeah, Mr. Coffee, this is a good game to analyze, seriously, even more than we did here. Because I think you made a lot of instructive mistakes. Now it's 2 pawns up. The 4-on-2 majority is fatal. Oh my god, man. Now an interesting thing happened. White played bishop takes f6, black played king f7, and white played king f2. Symmetrical. It was a fast game. Anyway, they degenerated into blitz scramble. A blitz scramble mode. King f7. Move bishop. Yeah, I think you should just play e4 and get the king to e3. Build the wall. Make your bishops great again and build the wall. By the way, it's okay to trade rooks when you have like a 4-on-2 kingside majority here. Don't lose sleep on this, especially with extra pawns on the queen side still on the board. There's no way he's drawing. It's very easy to advance your like 4 against 2 kingside majority and create 2 connectors. Yes, it's possible to draw if there's no other pawns, but the additional pawns on the queen side, you can totally trade rooks here. Anyway, don't forget to make your opponent's bishop great again. We haven't been doing a lot of Trump memes lately. I think there was a mate there. He's in the net. Oh my god. Mr. Coffee. King e5. Mr. Coffee has 37 seconds. His opponent with 2.9. He's got the mate. Always mate with the lowest form of life. The lowest form of Morales. Pawn. Grand Prix attack style. f4. Whew. Alright, that was entertaining. Alright, I drank to make other people interesting. What? We're up to cooking rooks. Guys, we only have like half an hour left, and I still have 4+ games. Alright, this is cooking rooks. Cooking rooks, you are not only a subscriber, but now a hype train conductor. He's invested in a stream. The only solution is another hype train. I think we're going to need another very soon. If not today, then in the near future. But I want to thank you guys. Move 11 with 11 gift subs. Cooking Rooks with 6. Astrobate with 5. That's not to mention the 5 we had, or 10 we had from Anonymous, right? Cooking Rooks with 7,000 bits. WJ Live 1,500. Very generous, guys. Alright. So this is Cooking Rooks playing black. Let me flip the board. Cooking Rooks, let me know now what happened to your A6 Slav. You've moved away. You've moved away from the A6 Slav concept to something else. Let me know what we're looking for here. I hate this move order. I hate G3. I had that against Dmitry Gurevich and Feigl, like unbeatable players. Always happy to make a draw with black against the unbeatables. C5 is good. It's a good move if you want to play for a win. I lost against Feigl several times playing that. Only because I knew that Igor wouldn't go into a Benoni. I mean, you've got to know how to play the black side of Benoni. You're transposing to the black side of Benoni. So not just anybody can play C5 Uber Driver. You said C5 is good because G3 is not good against Benoni. Well, you know, it's a matter of opinion, man. You know, I know like at least one grandmaster who really likes the white side of the Fianchetto Benoni. He knows the theory like 30 moves deep. You got to be an expert. Let's put it that way. I agree though. Like G3 is not the most dynamic line against the Benoni. But I wouldn't want to play against the like massive expert who knows 30 moves of theory, unless I was also expert. The Benoni is so bad that White can do anything and be better. Why fed Petrosian's children, right? Every opening fed Petrosian's children. The Dutch, King's Indian, Benoni. Let's see, G3, D5, Knight C3. Okay. Oh, I didn't realize this was our game. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know what came over me. Like, I did a lot of weird stuff in my simul on Sunday, and playing the Marshall defense was played twice. I don't know why. This was another move that I wouldn't normally play. I think I looked at the board and I forgot that I had played g3, and I thought it was like a normal Queen's Gambit or something. You can see from the opening explorer that like white does not normally play knight c3 here. Probably because of d takes c4. There really is no other refutation of the move knight to c3. But I don't normally play that. This was basically a mouse slip / brain fart. I don't know what I was thinking. So I guess... Actually, there's another move you can play, c5. Not that sure about c5. Let's see. Yeah, c5 is a problem. Is it, though? If c5, c takes d5. Maybe it's an inaccurate, like, semi-Tarash, like cd5, knight d5. There's a couple games here. Kramnik, Berkesh. That's probably nothing for white, but apparently this is even better. So there's weird possibilities with c5 or d takes c4. I mean, this seems like the sensible thing to play. Black's got a good Catalan, where the knight's not supposed to be on c3 so early. But you let me transpose to, I guess, what was a Nimzo. You know, now you're back into a real opening. One of your chess mentors growing up would ask me why I always want to play the Volga. Honestly, I think that the Benko or Volga is underrated. You know, it doesn't seem to be popular. But I don't see a problem with it until maybe like the GM level. I don't see any problem with it. I think it should be more popular than it is, honestly. It's certainly no worse than the Benoni. I mean, I think it's sounder than the Benoni, in a sense. Anyway, so this is okay move, but not refuting my move order. You're supposed to either take or play c5. You know, another move that's probably good is like just bishop e7. That's just a kind of Catalan where white has played knight c3 too early. Not dangerous. Alright, basically everything is okay. Now we're in like the Kasparov variation of the Nimzo. But I have no clue what I'm doing with white. And I wouldn't play this way with black either, so I don't know what I'm doing. You played now knight on bd7, which is a rare move, apparently. Okay, so castles, or d takes c4, those moves make the most sense. Quickly developing or grabbing that pawn. How am I going to get the pawn back? You know, it's not that easy. White has to play some kind of like long-term gambit. That's why this move is considered inaccurate, the knight c3. Normally, in the Catalan, when black grabs the pawn on c4, you're either going to play like queen c2 and attack the pawn, or grab it with like queen a4 check and queen takes c4, or maybe knight a3 and knight takes c4. But none of those things are available. White's playing a gambit, like long term here. It's never had a great reputation, but I suppose it might be reasonable. I don't know. Maybe white's okay. Now we're just in a really rare position. Knight on bd7, bishop g2, castle, takes. So finally you took. You know, good for you. White has a good score. And there's some decent players. D takes c4. And I have no idea what I'm doing. And I played the right move now. But there just aren't that many possibilities available to white. I wanted to play... I'm basically a Catalan player who doesn't know any Catalan theory. I mean, I've always played the Catalan occasionally and never had a clue what I was doing. But I've always had decent results. Like, I don't think I've ever lost the game even against the GM in the Catalan with white. Wow. So Cooking Rooks came up with a book move, rook b8. I don't think I knew who I was playing yet when we were playing in the simul. But I was very nervous about b5. You know, like not getting my pawn back later. So apparently this gambit style is main line. Again, there's not many games to go on, though. I mean, rook d1 looks reasonable, but I didn't like b5. So I decided to play this first to, you know, sidestep your b5. And now rook e8. Yeah. Well, rook e8 didn't seem particularly relevant. Yeah, when I see like rook b8 in the Catalan, I assume I'm playing a tournament player. That type of move, kind of subtle. Cooking rooks. I definitely didn't think it was you or someone that has never played over the board tournaments. I mean, this plan of like taking on c4 and like playing the rook b8, getting it off the long diagonal, that's kind of subtle, with the idea of a6 and b5. So I thought you were like one of the higher rated players in the simul, honestly. And I also didn't know what I was doing. Rook e8 isn't the worst move. It's a reasonable move, but I think, you know, it seems like you should try to do something to hold on the queen side. I mean, I guess I expected a6. It makes logical sense. You know, you're playing a6 supported with b5. We transposed the Wang Yui versus Wang Hao from 2013. So rook d1, likely a move I would play, and then b5. And this is basically what I expected. White's down a pawn with some kind of compensation. I mean, maybe I have b3, breaking up the structure on the queen side at some point. Yeah, bishop f4 is normal. Knight e5 is normal. Yep, Wang Yu versus Wang Hao. And forgive me for my pronunciation. Rook e8, rook d1, so queen e7. The problem was he had a weakness here on c7. And yeah, Uber Driver pointed out bishop f4. I went for that, realizing that that square is weak. And black has issues now. Like, what happens if knight b6? Defending laterally? With the idea of knight here sometimes. If a5 you play here. I mean, the thing is, like, white has the center that can just, like, expand at any moment with e4. You have to be really careful about e4. So he played instead e5. It's just a miscalculation. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm not afraid of knight f4. Like, I'll accept that. Exactly, Uber Driver. Like, that's a normal thing to allow in the vacuum. But I don't think he's losing here. Computer has it at 0.8 for white. Going down now. Bishop d6. You're alright. Yeah, I mean, I would consider this a threat. e5 is a threat. So you can sit your knight on e5 and claim compensation for the sacrificed pawn. Instead, Cooking Rooks blundered beautifully here with e5. I was like, what? Yeah, he just tried something crazy. Knight g4 now. 1, 2. He's got enough pieces to recapture this, but he's dropped control of d5. d5 is huge. It's like the Morales' favorite opening, the Budapest Gambit. But I mean, he's got problems here, here. When he played e5, he left the... Also, there's knight g5, by the way. There's slicey mating attack against h7 in a lot of positions. When you play e5... So this is just... Yeah, there was my best move, knight g5. I missed it. I looked at it, but I just took the piece with knight takes b4. He dropped a second piece. But the opening was okay. You know, again, I don't think the very best, but you played reasonably. We've got games with LVN and Morales. I've got to get through these last games. Let's go. We had a hype train tonight. Thanks very much, everybody. I'm going to stay on. Normally, I would end the stream right now. But it's still not that late. It's still not that late. It's 9:30. I'm feeling all right. We're going to do the last 4 games. We've got LVN last 5 or 4? Last 4 games. LVN versus Void. This looks like a kill game, so it shouldn't take too long. What I saw was white murdered black. Now LVN, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought you used to play the closed Sicilian. You've made the transfer to the open? No, I don't want any more games, Dr. Chance. Thank you. We've gone over the limit. A6, and now Emery Tate played this. Tate variation. Sicilian defense, Najdorf. I know that. This is the Vallejo attack. The Howard Krishna Vallejo attack. Alright, this is my first time ever seeing a game of this line. Yeah, exactly. Like, Karyakin once played A3 because he said he lost his laptop. Before a game with Carlsen or someone, right? Then Carlsen started playing it, or maybe it was Karyakin Giri, but anyway, that was his story, that he played A3 because, I mean, I've played the Sozin, man, and I've played like Sozin with A3. That's a very known variation. I mean, obviously A3 is not a ridiculous move. Queen D3 is much weirder. But you can borrow that plan from like the Richter Rouser, like Bishop G5, Queen D3. G6. So Queen D3 and Najdorf, you saw Magnus and Jordan. Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was played at Tata. Well, basically, like, Camel Culture has the right idea, you know. Rook G1 is old school. That's like late 90s, man. That's a Josh Whiteskin late 90s move. I like H3 better. Yeah, I mean this is going back to the 96 or something. I like H3. I've been playing that. But Queen D3, yeah. But Camel Culture's point is that people are playing anything. Once Tate played this against Nick DeFermian when I was like playing next to them, and Nick made a face. He was like, whatever, you know. And he played G6. But I would think the same here. Like, what's up with the dragon? You know, does Queen D3 make sense against the dragon? I mean, it's a Dragendorf, right? But I would think it very much similar. Like, G6 would be a strong move here. What is this? What is this going to do against the dragon? Dragendorf, solid option. Very solid kingside. And you've got no, you know, you've got no H4, H5. You've got no Bishop E3, Queen E2. In the Dragendorf, it looks like a very smart idea. It also kills that whole Queen G3 maneuver. Like, against the dragon, that looks stupid. So I definitely like G6 here. That would be my choice. I don't see how this piece ever goes to D3 in the dragon. It's just a move that gets out of book. But it definitely works better against Scheveningen. If you play E6, now we're going to be in some kind of like very real line in the Scheveningen. So I would think either G6 or something based on E5. This must be part of it. Like Knight F5 is probably okay. Queen D3 contributes to control of D5. It allows castling queenside, maybe like a quick Bishop G5 castles long. So I could see in that formation too. Maybe it makes sense. This not so much. They're obviously attracted to play Knight D7 on the queen. I mean, Knight D7 leaves your options open. But I like g6. So your opponent played g6. Black won both games where this position was reached. You're basically just playing a classical dragon. You've got a classical dragon where both sides made a weird move. Like white played queen d3 and black played a6 in a totally standard position. The idea behind queen d3 is that there is no real idea. I think it's just like a matter of avoiding theory. After bishop g7, f3 actually looks substandard. I think the best thing you can do is probably move your bishop out and then like put your queen back on d2, and you have kind of a normal position. Knight on bd7, bishop e3. It's also possible to play bishop g5. Castles. Now g4. So there's the answer to the question. It has to be based on I guess, g4. But this queen will be moving back if knight c5, knight e5. Yeah. I don't know. You know, if I'm going to play h5, I'm not going to castle, honestly. I don't see why black needs to commit so early either. If you play like the Dragendorf, I mean, b5 is an option. You can even allow this and play like queen c7, right? One of the greatest things in the Dragendorf is that flexibility. If you play like b5 here for black, this is not a threat necessarily. It's kind of like the modern. You can play like bishop e7. White will have to do a4 in some moment and try to break up the queen side. Yeah, so black, I mean, could be more flexible. But I don't really trust this. Yeah, now taking on h5. I mean, I guess he's hoping for g5, and you're probably better there too. But it would be very hard to break him open. This move he probably didn't expect. Underestimated. But I think h5 is a mistake, you know, objectively. Maybe after h4, you play h5. But I don't understand necessarily playing it before h4. But I think this is a subtle move. You know, that's better than you thought. Black underestimated this. And that was a strong move. And now you have something similar to some sort of normal dragon. Maybe f4 at some point. I mean, this hole here, what is going on with the d5 square? So now you got that, and like h for h5. So what about e5? Black's next move looks kind of suspicious strategically. He played bishop g4. Maybe it's not that bad. But I was wondering where you're going after e5. I mean, we don't really have a great square for the knight. What do we do? Do we play like here? Wow, it's a winning position. Winning position after knight b3. Wow. The engine claims 2.5 advantage to white. This is a problem. The knight on d5. No, I don't think queen d4. I don't think queen d3 refutes the Najdorf. But I don't think black played, you know, this is weird. He's now like, what's happening with d5? Now you've got rook takes g6. Does this work? I mean, is there an answer to that? I mean, among other things, this is probably a strong move. But black is dead. Now it's mate in 3. Alright, interesting. Guys, we just a couple games left. Morales playing black. He had to leave. Alright, I don't know what to say about that. That's the Tory attack Kamsky variation. Sometimes you see people like Gada play like c3 on move 2. Usually white will play bishop g5. Knight f3. Oh, Antonio's still here. Oh my god. You're playing the London system. Thank you for submitting a London system. You know how much I love it. The London system with black. Ugh. The London system down a tempo. I mean, I don't know if it prevents c5. It's been played in 117 games with good results. Uber driver. Let's use a different word. Let's say it discourages c5. Bishop f5, bishop f4. Still, now no one has played c5. Discourages. The symmetrical. Is this like a Schlechter game? I like Schlechter when he played e4, but his d4 games were a little dry. This looks like a game from like 1889. Maybe 1901, where they would do like d4, d5, bishop f4, bishop f5. Morales, I'm surprised there's no Magnus Carlsen games here with white. This is kind of like a passive version of the London now by white, where he's played like c3 for no reason. You get that a lot. Savely Golubov plays like everything. This Russian kid I played here. I actually played the 3 a.m. defense against him in a rapid tournament. e4, knight h6. That was a long time ago. e3, bishop d6. Yeah. Morales, you know how to really stimulate me with interesting openings. Bishop g6, bishop g3. I'll take this as a meme opening. But I mean, I'm close to wanting to play knight e4 now. But you're principal, man of principle. So what happens on knight e5? You could do like bishop takes e5, or maybe bishop takes d3, queen d3, bishop takes e5, and then play it like a Caro Kann. Talk like Emery Tate, like really fast. All right. Queen e2, queen e7. Dude, you gotta stop. You're prepared to play e5. Yeah, he's had enough. But you're practically waving a red flag, like, hey dude, play knight e5. Yeah, I thought you would exchange bishops first. Induce this, and then like take. And then pretend you're playing the Caro Kann. What's he gonna do? This actually looks sort of stupid for white. What's he gonna do? Yeah, well, I mean, this looks like case in point. I don't like this for white. I think, you know, once I played the London system against Prohashka or someone good, I didn't want to do that. I just let them play e5, you know, and then you just like trade everything. I'm not going to play knight e5 and let you have that. So if white just like castles, you achieve e5, but whatever, we just like trade everything off, and it's just a draw. It's like white's playing the Caro Kann or something. You know? It's a draw. This is risky. Yeah, I mean, Rubinstein had games like this, but what about like bishop takes d3? Pawn takes f6? Can't do that now. Why didn't you exchange bishops first? Were you figuring he would take with a knight, and you didn't like that? He should, probably, take with a knight. So takes, alright, takes, here. But I mean, this is a problem, huh? The e5 pawn. So what is he? He's got to play f4? He's got to play f4. Oh my god. He's got to play f4. I hope not, but he had to. Rubinstein, Dosudmirsky. You're playing like Dosudmirsky now. c5, c4. Next thing he's going to do like c4 and start like banging the pieces down and talking at the board. There was a funny story where like Bronstein said Dosudmirsky like demanded him to like let him take back a move or something in some game. He played an opening that Dosudmirsky didn't like, and he started like an old man, just like banging on the table and demanding he let him have a take back. f4, c5, knight d2, knight d2, queen d2, c4. The full Dosudmirsky, with the idea of knight here and knight d3 or knight e4. But seriously, what about this? This is just bad. Yeah, classic. What? Classic bad bishop. Game over. So white realized that and took a desperate step to play e4. Positionally, I'm much better. I think it's resignable. White's probably lost. It's beyond much better. I mean, maybe if you're playing computer, much better is an under-exaggeration. So he can't castle. You have a knight in his face, and his bishop is a pawn. Yeah, that's pretty much better. Something went wrong here. b3, castles queenside. That's kind of an unnecessary risk. What would I do with my king? But I think like we see Morales' obsession with castling queenside in the Budapest Gambit. By the way, this position is completely relevant. You know, very much like at home here if you're a Budapest Gambit player who likes to castle queenside. Castles queenside, very positional, yeah. Like Acerbate is getting more and more positional. Queen a3, defending the a7 pawn actively. The guy's down a rook, by the way. Not only a bishop, but a rook too. I was hoping you can play a d4 though. You say he's a positional player, but he doesn't like to make positional sacrifices. This just doesn't do anything. Alright, here take. And that's just over. You could play queen b1 check. Yeah, I mean, like I would play b6 here. Not gonna check me. But this is totally over. The guy has an extra pawn. No, it's equal pawns, but you have more rooks. 2 rooks and 6 pawns against a rook and 6 pawns. That's what this is. That was awkward though. Not excellent technique. You let him have the tiniest amount of counterplay with the slightest inaccuracy. Yeah, it's over. Alright, anyway, white had no chance there. It's not an extra pawn, it's a bishop. Are you sure? Because it looks like a pawn to me. The moral of the story there is very obvious. That's why I love the London system. All right, camel culture. That was weird. I just did some magic trick and I made camel culture's game switch places with Morales's. Wow. There must be some key to doing that. That's weird. There's some way I can press a button and make the game switch places in the list. So this is camel culture's game. He's showing everyone. All right. Guys, we got to go soon. So last two games we're going to run through pretty quickly here. Camel Culture and Jethro Tull. No, we can't say masturbate. No relation to Asterbate. From Delver. D4, knight f6, c4, e6. Knight f3, b6, g3. So Camel Culture with the ultra subtle bishop a6. I played the bishop a6 Queen's Indian once in my life, specifically for Ilinchich, and I lost, I think. It was always a little too theoretical for me. Check. Bishop e7. d5. I'm out of my depth here, theoretically. So I don't know, man. I don't know enough about this. It just looks like a Queen's Indian, you know, like a normal Queen's Indian. Did White somehow not play like the critical line? What's happening here? You played Bishop a6, b3, check. Here. Okay, so he played knight c3. I remember Topalov playing that. Okay. So is there some games where White plays like e4, like Topalov plays like e4, and he doesn't fianchetto his bishop or something? Knight c3 is not the main line. But you're supposed to castle and allow e4. Is that the point? Like these crazy things? Karpov Anand, 1989. I just remember Topalov playing this with White. You know, and being like, oh yeah, it's totally normal to play g3 and then not fianchetto your bishop if you're Topalov. So bishop g2 is like old school theory. Knight c3 is more aggressive. But you played d5. But looking at the line here, it looks like they're all draws and all games in the last 5 years. So this line has good score. It has the best score. However, if you look at castles, it's very drawish theoretically. Whereas d5 is more wins for black and white. You've got the Mr. Coffee structure. I mean, honestly, dude, this is a dynamic structure you're playing with black now. This is not something you play for a draw. I mean, you play with this Karyakin hanging pawn structure. That's an aggressive way to play for black. You're not trying to trade pieces and play for a draw. Knight on bd7, rook c1. I kind of wish my bishop was on b7. Gelfand Karyakin. Gelfand Karyakin. Yeah, sure, bishop h3 is possible. Totally. Actually, it looks like a little bit like lines in the Petrosian system of the Queen's Indian. Of course, there White would have like a3. But the idea of bishop h3, I sound like Porky Pig, but I agree. Apparently, Camel Culture is not really a positional player. He prefers tactics. He looks down on mere positional players. Queen e7. Very logical move. I mean, rook e8 is slightly more natural. But they both look reasonable to me. You think Queen e7 was terrible? You're going to get hit by knight f5 or something? And you're leaving your c5, c7 not protected? I mean, rook e8 is more natural. Yeah, well, I've had that happen to me too. It's no problem. You play g6, so you're busted on d5. Oh. I mean, I'm a little skeptical of bishop a3, honestly. I want to bring my bishop back. Then you got Leko, Carlsen. I like it. Leko, Carlsen. It reminds me of like a slot machine or something, where like 3 things line up on the line. If you got Leko, Carlsen, you're in good shape. If you get like Topalov, who else? Jabava. You could be in danger. You know, there's a good chance your position is unsound. If the top 3 like come up on the slot machine, Topalov, Jabava, you're probably not in a stable position. Yeah, Topalov, Mamedyarov, Jabava. You're like rolling the dice. But when you play this, you're like Leko, Carlsen. Bishop a3 is, yeah. That's a move that shows, you're a little bit of a maniac, right? Rook e8, though, that keeps your options open. By the way, Karyakin plays this kind of structure well. I was referencing him. You got Karyakin, Leko. It's a little different from Leko, Carlsen. Not as solid, but still not bad. I like that. I like that rook e8 move. You got all your options now. You can still come back with bishop b7. You're not committed to the maniacal bishop a3. You played a solid developing move. Your c7 pawn's protected. You can still play c5. There's no knight h4. Yeah. Yeah, you were impulsive. But he misses the knight h4, which was key. Okay, so you're observant of like bishop h3. There's still knight h4. You can always play like queen e6 though, but you might get blasted by e4. Yeah, I'm a little concerned about that. The white player might be slightly anal retentive. Bishop c1 is really kind of solid. I'm surprised the provocative camel culture didn't play like bishop b4 now. If you really were a maniac, you would play bishop b4, right? There is the boring like bishop takes bishop. So what are you supposed to do? Actually, he's not threatening anything. You could make a developing move, or even g6. He's not literally threatening anything, or is he? I don't think so. If you don't know knight h4 existed, maybe you don't play this type of Queen's Indian that often. It seems like kind of a standard move. But now this is interesting. Instead of playing c6 and getting hit by e4, you went with c5. Yeah, that's a nice active move. dc5. Uh-oh. You don't say he like falls for some sort of bishop f2, right? Have you been using the tactics trainer again? It looks pretty strong. What about bishop f2 right away? This doesn't work. Oh, I'm hallucinating. Sorry. I had a hallucination. Never mind. I thought your knight was on f6. It's close enough that might actually work, though. I wouldn't be surprised if this... I wouldn't be surprised if this actually works, man. But knight f6 looks brutal. You went knight e5. Well, there's this devastating threats, right? Don't you have better? Can I play bishop takes f2 check? It just doesn't work. It's not right. Can't believe it. It doesn't work. I want it to work. Knight e5 here. And white now realizes there's a problem if he played bishop f3. So rook e8, fully developing. Do you think that black has compensation for a pawn? I try to tell people what you want to try to do is like get all your pieces and stuff them into like a little box that's like 3x3. This illustrates the coordination of the pieces. See, black's pieces, they have this spacing. This is the box the black pieces are in. It's like a 4x5, right? Your pieces are in a 4x5 box, and the white pieces are in a little tiny like 3x4. That shows that black's pieces are better spaced out and they're not like interfering. Notice the mobility of the white queen on d1 in this position. Highly mobile. It has 0 squares available. Like seriously, that is messed up, man. His queen has no squares it can move to. It's literally blocked by a piece in every direction. It's ridiculous. This is sick. Now you've got a queen sack. Just the mirror, knight takes f2. Oof. 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 And then oof. Is bishop g4 an option? Not really. One of many wins. Don't you have like rook here? Rook d3? No. It feels like there should be some immediate crush. It's kind of funny though. It is optically pleasing. So let's see the denouement. It's actually mate. Nice game. Yeah, crushing. Last game, guys. This was Delver. Delver, this is your backup account? Oh, the Benko. So you're talking about the Benko. I get this a lot. Yeah, b3. That's like standard. That's like bishop c4 against the Sicilian. So it loses immediately, right? To e6. Are you supposed to exchange first or play e6? Unbelievably, like Istrachescu played this with white. I don't understand how that's possible. How would Istrachescu play b3 against the Benko, against a real player? Is he just joking around? e6 looks really strong. I think that's the engine move. Basically, the main threat is knight takes d5. So what do we do? Takes. F takes e6. Yeah, I mean, it's not really a variation. So your exchange here is like slightly not the most optimal. I don't know. I like this destruction of center. I think you should. Yeah, the names are kind of funny for this game. Knight a6, bishop e2. You should destroy his center. But that's not your style. Alright. You don't care about destroying enemy centers. Everybody's different. Bishop g7, a3, castles, bishop d3, and now it's a Benoni. It's merely a good Benoni for black now, not a Benko. D takes e6. So, I mean, you definitely have to give serious thought to f takes here. Again, I'm very interested in blasting him open with like d5, but that's not our only option. I feel like with the knight on a6, without that coming here, you know, I don't see how our knight is like getting in the game in this structure for black. Um, that's a little bit of an issue. You know, the knight comes here, but then what? I guess either way you're going to have a problem with that knight on a6. I didn't really like knight a6. Yeah, yeah, f takes and like ideas like this. Well, I mean, you're talking about knight g4 in a different game. I was thinking maybe we could strong point e5 with that knight d7. Toxic. Yeah. F takes c6, knight on g to f3. What about knight g4? Poor Ginger GM. He's not that bad, is he? Knight on g to f3, e5. Yeah, I like this. But again, we need a way to get there, so you're coming through to c7 and e5. This is really good. Yeah. Shows good positional understanding. Nice. You're just owning him. But again, I want to get that knight in the game. Yeah, I don't mind Ginger GM. Knight c7, bishop a5. Here. Rook b1. But I do think like American players and British guys have a lot of trouble relating to each other. The humor is very different. I think, you know, I have, for example, like almost no viewers from the UK who follow my stream. I mean, maybe we just like hate each other's accents or something. But there's almost no British players who ever follow my stream. It has to be like they just hate American accents and Americans hate their accents. I don't know. You know, it's like this bias. I have way more Europeans, but nobody from the UK, really, who watches my stream. Maybe it's like we're still bitter about the Revolutionary War. I don't know. G3, knight h5, here, queen d3, knight d4. Yeah, you got protected passer. Nice pressure. The girls are hot, right? I don't know, Spectacular Camel. I don't personally like dislike people because of their accents, but I know that there's a lot of people who relate to it like that. They really like it or really hate it, usually. A lot of people think it's cool, but usually there's a reaction one way or the other, you know. You either really like it or you really hate it. You're not like neutral toward it. Again, all of your viewers understand where the pieces go in structures. Yeah, this is a strong viewer, though, apparently. He's taking out a 2300. This was a subtle positional game. But I think I have kind of advanced viewers. Like, you have to be a fairly strong player to like my stream. Spectacular Camel, you sound like the Swedish chef, right? That's my reference. You're easier to understand than him, actually. This is very strong positional play by black. And now you got the mate, the King's Indian mate. But to be honest, you know, I don't know Delver Flips, but he played the Banco a little bit like a King's Indian player. This theme coming down on the tactics here, particularly. Do you have knight takes g3? At the end of the day, white would have knight f1, knight h2, saving the game, right? It just doesn't quite work. Good enough for a draw, according to the engine. So you can't do it right away. Thank God you do not hear my accent here. I just assume that's why I don't have any English viewers. They just hate American accents. I don't know. Bishop d6, and then he walks into the mate. The classic King's Indian mate. Like in the Petrosian King's Indian. Alright, good game. Benko played King's Indian style. Thanks everybody for watching. It's kind of late for me. I'm usually packing in earlier. We had a great hype train today. Also some people I haven't seen in a while. Camel Culture Spinal Tap Chess, thanks very much for the support. Dominant performance there in our last game by Delver. Very nice game. Guys, if I'm alive, still, and I wake up, we're going to be streaming tomorrow at 11 a.m. CEST, taking Blitz challenges for everyone. Mia says hi. Give her my regards. So, I will see all of you guys tomorrow, hopefully. Don't go anywhere. Alright. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Let's see. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. CEST here on lichess and Twitch. Appreciate the support. Yeah, Yabata sounds just like the Swedish Chef. A little clearer, but similar accent. We'll see you guys tomorrow for People's Day. Bye-bye. Thanks, Mr. Coffee. Thanks, everybody, for the support. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to get some rest.